equity with just a single forged document they file at the county. So don't wait until it's too late. Find out if you are already a victim today. Please go to HomeTitleLock.com and use promo code BILL to get a free title history report, plus a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. On this Monday, my book, Confronting Evil, doing very well. Thank you all very much. #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. And we have sold it to the movies. So I've had 4 films produced. I was the executive producer on all of them: Killing Lincoln, Killing Kennedy, Killing Jesus, and Killing Reagan. The first one, Killing Lincoln, we used Tom Hanks as a narrator, and it worked very well. So we're looking around for another big name narrator now in Hollywood. And there are people available. I'm not going to mention the names because we're negotiating with them, and we'll get somebody very good, I'm confident. But there is a very big advantage to us as a production company, because there's a lot of very skilled performers out of work in Hollywood, unemployed. They're not making the movies they used to or the TV shows. And the ones they do make, sometimes they're in the theaters, sometimes they're not. Streaming, Hulu, Disney Plus. Who can keep track of all this? The last movie I went to in the theaters was about Iraq. Very good film, but since I was in Iraq, I wanted to see how the producers did it, so I went to the theater. Played 1 week in the theater, and then it's streaming. Anyway, we are going to land a big name to narrate Confronting Evil, and I thought I should keep you posted. Back in a moment. Bill O'Reilly here. If you are stuck in a timeshare you no longer want, my friends at Lone Star Transfer can assist. Over the past 15 years, the family-owned company has helped more than 30,000 owners break free from their timeshares. They'll provide a guaranteed solution to exit your timeshare. So please call Lone Star Transfer 833-594-0079 or visit LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Most of it stay dry today under considerable cloudiness, but a select few might see a quick passing shower this morning and this afternoon. Showers more likely to the west and north of St. Louis, and even there, they're going to be spotty at best, I'm afraid. Highs will range from the upper 70s to low 80s this afternoon, depending on how much sunshine breaks through in your neighborhood. We're dry and partly cloudy tonight, down to 62 for the low. Partly cloudy on Tuesday, slightly warmer at 82. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
There's a lot to talk about today, St. Louis. Let's get the conversation started. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Yes, I know. Still lots of drama in Congress and all over politics. We're going to get to all that here in just a little bit. We had an interesting conversation this past week. I want to kind of relive that just a little bit. Tim Graham from the Media Research Center from Newsbusters was with us, and there are multiple surveys that have come out over the past, 3, 4, 5 weeks that all show the same thing. Regardless of where you are on the political spectrum, you don't trust the media. Yeah, and that's a generational decline that we've been seeing over and over and over again, especially for those of us on the right. Well, why? Well, because they're not trustworthy. So what's the bigger picture? What does that mean? Well, here's what Tim had to tell us about why that trust continues to decline. And by the way, it's not just because of, right-wing activists. It's because of what the media is doing. But then also, what's the bigger picture? Like I said, here's what Tim had to say.
You're seeing some polling that shows more and more people are showing a not even necessarily a discontent, but a skepticism of what they're seeing in the mainstream media. Let's start with the results of some of the recent surveys and polling that's being done, and we can build from there and get to the why. But what do the numbers reflect at this point?
It's pretty bad. I mean, Gallup found, and they've done this trust in the media poll since 1972. They found 70% that they have either not very much confidence in the press or none at all. 34% said none at all. The number of people who said they had either a fair amount or a great deal of trust in the media, newspapers, television, and radio, 28%, which is the lowest measured. It was 30% a year or two ago. It's now down to 28%. Now, when Gallup started doing this in 1972, it was the reverse. 7 in 10 adults had a great deal or a fair amount of trust in the press. So it's absolutely cratered. And it's not just among Republicans, as you would expect.
Yep.
8% of Republicans say they trust the media. But it's the independents as well. And so the question, the way it's asked is, do you trust newspapers or television and radio to report the news, quote unquote, fully, accurately, and fairly? And I think when you put those words in, this shows you how people don't trust them. And I think that we want to trust the media because when you don't trust the media, maybe you're one of those crazy conspiracy theorists or something. That's the way the media wants it to sound.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, they aren't always accurate. They're absolutely not fair. And they're not full because there's a lot of stories they just refuse to do.
Yeah, and let me follow up on one part that you were talking about. When you're looking at, only 1 in 4 show some full trust in the media, or when you look at the distrust, the converse numbers as well, is that's not just on the conservative side. So there are an increasingly number of people in the middle. I would assume some on the left too who are critiquing media. Now they would look at it from, we think they're too far, to the right if they're on the left, but. Yep. But what are some of the reasons that are being cited? Because obviously those of us in conservative media for years have been preaching that mainstream media cannot be trusted, that there's an agenda, that they're biased. You've got to be able to digest what they're saying and learn how to use what they're saying, because we don't expect the old days of actual journalism anymore. But what are the overall numbers? What are the overall drivers to why so many people across the political spectrum are finding a distrust, an active distrust of media?
Well, you can look at some of the scandals. You could go back to the phony documents that Dan Rather tried to put out about George W. Bush. But, more recently, you can look at the absolute fraud where Jussie Smollett said I was attacked by 2 guys in MAGA hats, which was fake. And they told that story for days. Mm-hmm. But I think that there's also just this sense, certainly under what we might call the Trump era, where the news media felt we couldn't possibly try to be fair and balanced to 2 sides because one side is evil and we have to crusade against it. And since we're presenting the president and his supporters as Nazis, the president's supporters don't tend to like that. They think, gosh, it's sort of unfair to call us Nazis. So, we're in an upside down world now where ICE trying to enforce our immigration laws is the Gestapo. And somehow Hamas, which reveres the Nazis, are just about the most trusted source. Mm-hmm. Because, of course, we always use our Gaza Health Ministry numbers to tell us what's going on in Israel.
Yeah.
So, it's everything seems a little upside down. So, yes, you would naturally get this. I think also, obviously, the presence of a professional conservative media who underlines the stories that they're unwilling to do, right? Like the victims of murdering illegal aliens who were allowed into this country. Stories the networks don't want to do, but Fox News will tell you about quite a bit, underlines, the extreme selectivity of the so-called objective media.
Yeah, so we're not looking at just a competency issue. It isn't that we don't think they're good at what they do. It's they're good at what they do and we don't like what they do.
Well, they're good at what they do if their whole point is to make political commercials disguised as news content. Yeah, I'm kind of laughing right now because, CBS News has named this new editor-in-chief, Barry Weiss, who is a kind of centrist. She doesn't like wokeness. She likes Israel. And they're all going crazy because they're like, don't touch the crown jewel of 60 Minutes. And it's like 60 Minutes, as we all saw, is out to destroy Trump. Leslie Stahl's yelling at Donald Trump in 2020 that you can't verify the Hunter Biden laptop, which then, of course, CBS News eventually did. And then, of course, they're going to suck up to Kamala Harris and not ask her really tough questions. For example, about all the illegal immigration. They'd press her pretty hard on that, but they didn't. It's just the double standard, the way that Scott Pelley would interview President Biden. And, obviously these are recorded, so they're not going to show you, here's the live interview where Biden doesn't know who he's talking to or whatever. Biden needs cards to figure out who Hillary Clinton is. They're not going to do that story. Instead, they prop him up and make him look competent because that's what 60 Minutes does. It is a propaganda program.
Hey, Tim, so let's talk about why this matters to everybody, because, obviously I'm in conservative media, you're in conservative media, so mainstream media is an ideological opponent, and it's not supposed to be that way. It used to be at least one of the foundations of a high trust society is that we trust that we can get accurate information. And if we don't have that trust, and we shouldn't have that trust, what are some of the effects that we're seeing because the media will not make itself trustworthy? And the problem is that we don't trust him. The problem is that they're not trustworthy. What are some of the larger picture effects other than they're wrong, we're right, or something like that?
Well, let's realize that one of the reasons the press isn't as respected anymore is that the press destroyed the reputations of everybody else. The press was always like, well, you can't trust the military, you can't trust the courts, you can't trust Congress. And, the media bred a cynicism that then backfired on itself. So you could say, well, we got wiser after Watergate or whatever. And it's, and then we revered Woodward and Bernstein. Well, we don't revere Woodward and Bernstein anymore. And they were out to destroy Nixon, just like today's journalists are out to destroy Trump. Obviously there are certain things that would build trust back. And when Barry Weiss sent out a memo to CBS News yesterday, it had several points that will be wildly controversial inside CBS, but which are actually trust-building exercise. One of them was, we're going to hold both parties equally accountable. Well, that's not the way CBS News has ever operated. No. And you can revere Edward R. Murrow, Walter Cronkite. Same difference. They were always out to polish up the Democrats. Except when Walter Cronkite said, we're losing in Vietnam, LBJ, sorry, time to quit. Mm-hmm. That wasn't liberal at all. But, so it's that idea. It's equal accountability. It's basing things on fact and not trying to figure out which side does this help, because that's what the news judgment is inside most of these media outlets is, well, we're not going to do a story on a murdering illegal alien because that's bad. Yeah, that's bad. That's not a helpful angle. So we're not going to do it. And that's where you lose the trust.
Is the market, are we as consumers overall, Tim? Does the market want objective news? I know people say that they just want somebody to tell us the truth and we'll think for ourselves. But do we really want that at this point after we use media sources as part of our tribal warfare?
It's a good question. Obviously, you have the Fox News audience, and on the other side, you have the MSNBC audience. And of course, they'll pretend that the ABC, CBS, NBC, PBS audience isn't pretty much the same as MSNBC. I say all the time, PBS and NPR, which you used to pay for, is basically MSNBC. Now we have News Nation, which is a cable channel, which is trying to go down the middle. And you can say, well, gosh, it doesn't have the ratings of the others. It's new. But I think you have to say, you have to ask yourself the question, are we getting the news media that we're asking for?
Right.
And I think that's a fair question. But I always try to tell people when they're like, well, I want to just get a sense of what the news is in the raw form. That's when you watch live events. You watch it on C-SPAN. I mean, you can't count on cable now pretty much to show you live events, especially if it's the president or the Speaker of the House. They're going to have to break in within 3 minutes to say, well, that guy's lying right there. The Democrats aren't doing that. We have to fact check in real time. The Democrats don't support health care for illegal immigrants. So, I mean, we can still try to observe news events or watch both sides of the news, and we're obviously doing that,
right,
to get a sense of, where is the middle?
Yeah, and I think it's interesting you brought up News Nation because they are saying the right things. And I what you just said, I've said something very similar here a few different times. You know, they've got Cuomo, they've got O'Reilly, they've got, so they're definitely saying the right things. It's just going to be fascinating to me whether we really collectively want a balanced or we want a neutral news source, or whether or not we just want to tell ourselves that we want that. Because I think we may have been so entrenched that we're not looking for a neutral source of information. We're looking at suppliers of our intellectual ammunition and our soundbite ammunition. And I don't think that's good. I think that pushing for an objective media so that we can have at least a set of facts to debate, as opposed to I see A, you see B. I think that we're looking at probably the trend that's not going to stop. But is there something we can do about that as a customer base, as a marketplace, to try to get back to this? Or is it just a matter of trying to navigate the new and permanent reality?
I think it's a pretty, it's a pretty hard reality as a business model. I mean, people could try to boost News Nation and watch more News Nation. I think the problem they're having right now is you have to find it. Where is it on my dial? Is it on my dial? Well, I'll give you an example about News Nation, which would give me some hope. And that was, James Comer and his committee in the House is investigating Biden's mental decline, how the Biden White House hid it. And they've had in this whole series of people, the chief of staff, the deputy chief of staff, Karine Jean-Pierre. They've had all these people in. And these people have testified behind closed doors. They're not doing them in public. News Nation would go to that story and say, here's who they interviewed today. Here's the news out of the hearing. They show you that this is something you could do in an objective way. And this is the whole problem. And that is, they're like, the so-called objective news media gave you every second of the January 6th committee live, and they're pretending these hearings do not exist, when they certainly could at least pretend that, or acknowledge that they exist. And that's exactly how you could be a more objective media. You could say, well, when the Republicans are in control of hearings and they are in control of Congress and they have hearings, aren't those newsworthy? Mm-hmm. Aren't some of them newsworthy?
All right. The number, as always, 314-912-1019. A little bit later on today, 8:35, Darren Bailey. He is taking another run for governor of Illinois. He wants to be the guy to replace J.B. Pritzker and kick Pritzker out of the governor's office. So 8:35, that conversation is going to happen right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Here's my problem.
Completely agree with your sentiments.
He talks about we're divided. Well, yeah, we are, and we need to wake up as a country and realize what's going on.
101.9 and 94.1.
Number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Every 2 seconds, someone needs blood. Someone who is fighting cancer, undergoing surgery, or experiencing a life-threatening illness. The need for blood is critical and constant.
I'm Congressman Bob Onder. A single blood donation can save lives. Donate blood today and offer help and hope to those who need it most.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Political season doesn't really end anymore.
No.
Political season is upon us once again.
Already?
Yeah, it already is. Yep. I got to plug my thing in over here. My headphones are doing the thing again. All right, here we go. Let's try that. All right, let's see if that's any better. All right, so nope. Okay, so political season is upon us. I actually saw some petition gatherers out yesterday.
Oh,
yeah. So Rachel and I were at the Legends and Lanterns Festival there at Old Historic Main Street in St. Charles, which, by the way, was a lot of fun. And we spent far more money than I wanted to, but Rachel kept going, "Oh, I want that. I want that." Anyway. And so I saw one of the Respect Mo voters, the left-wing groups that are there, want to put all the, like 3 or 4 liberal things on the ballot. And they were there right in front of like where all the parents and the kiddies were coming. Now, I didn't see anybody signing the petition, but I'm sure they got some,
oh yeah,
throughout the day there. And I also ran into one of our friends there who, Jane Pushkar from the Francis Howell School Board. She was actually there with a petition of her own regarding the mayor in St. Charles, who's under fire because there's a lot of people that want to recall him. And so she was out there working on that as well. But, it's one of those things where, and I had a great chat with Jane. So that was fun. She's going to be on the show. I can tell you this, there's something in the works right now that's big. And so we'll have her talk about that when the time is right, which will probably be within the next 2 weeks or so. But the one with the leftist group, she had like a bright colored vest on and she had her thing, and she was, just kind of like begging anybody to look at her and everything. And, I walked by, and of course she made eye contact, and she kind of does the, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Hi." Keep walking on. I just kept going. And I'm thinking, when you're a petition gatherer, it makes total sense to go to things like that. A lot of people were out there. Weather was beautiful. It was, a lot of fun. I'm just thinking, it just seemed like a lot of people just don't want to see political stuff at those things.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, the library I go to will occasionally have people gathering.
Yep.
I mean,
that makes sense.
It makes sense. It's
Yep.
a good area to go to for, well, not the one I go to because nobody wants to sign that anyways. But
yeah,
I do have a sense of like, having done door-to-door sales, I kind of feel bad for the way that some of these people get treated. But at the same time, the one that I talked to didn't even know anything. I could not answer a single question about what they're trying to gather petitions for. And we're like, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just here because I'm getting paid quite well to come out here and get signatures. So I respect the honesty, but at the same time, if I'm out there and I don't have a family, but like you do, but if I have a family, if I was on a date night and something's going on, the last thing I want to do at the end of this amazing night is to be bothered by somebody trying to get signatures for something they don't even understand.
Well, that's part of the First Amendment we got in this country. Is it? Yeah. And a majority, I would say majority, because I can't say that for sure. Many of the people are exactly like what you described. They're getting paid either per signature, generally speaking, they're getting paid per signature that they bring in. Because I've run petition drives before, when I was working for former Congressman Bob Barr, and we were trying to get him on the ballot in West Virginia. I spent a couple months in West Virginia, for several weeks at least. And, we were trying to petition him onto the ballot. They had very restrictive access laws. They didn't want third parties on the ballot out there. And so we actually teamed up with Ralph Nader's team.
Oh,
and they had our petitions and we had theirs. And we kind of expanded our reach on that. And so at one point we brought in a bunch of paid petitioners.
Wow.
And they were far more effective than the volunteers. The volunteers were true believers, but the petition gatherers, the professionals, they knew what they were doing.
Wait. Are you saying that when the free market is at work, it's more effective than when people sign up out of principle alone?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And we actually, and there were court things and we didn't end up getting on the ballot in either case. But, I think they did change some of their laws as a result of that. But yeah, it was, it was weird to see the gatherer there, like, and I get why they're doing it, but I'm just thinking everybody's just trying to have a good time.
Yeah.
Now Jane was just kind of sitting on a bench outside of a store that we were walking in. She wasn't up in anybody's face or anything. And if you're going to do it, that's the way to do it. The leftist one, she wasn't being aggressive. She wasn't, interfering with anybody. She wasn't grabbing people off the street, but she was standing and you had to walk around her a little bit to get there. So, I don't know what, if any, rules they put on her. You can't like solicit or whatever, which you can. It's the First Amendment right to do that. But it just kind of reminded me, and I didn't even, like I said, I didn't even talk to her. She has no idea who I am assuming. And I just kind of kept going. I didn't get into anything because, I'm thinking I could get there and go, what are you doing? You liberals, what? Then I'm just ruining it for everybody else, So I'm just like, you do your thing. I'm going to do mine. I'm off duty. And I just kind of kept going, and I'm also thinking it's a beautiful day. All the actors are up in costumes and characters all over up and down Main Street. They got the horses and the carriage going. They got live music that's happening. I'm like, just enjoy it. Why are you sitting there in a brightly colored vest doing politics? Just enjoy the day. But, they've got a limited amount of time to try to get their, anti-conservative stuff on the ballot, which, by the way, I'm seeing this floating around social media, and you got to give credit. The original credit's going to go to Freedom Principle, Missouri. They put up just a graphic online and they just said decline to sign. And they pointed out, and this is accurate, there are no conservative referendums or initiative petitions being circulated now. Anything that you're going to be asked to sign is from the left. So they're pointing out decline to sign. Like you said, the people that are talking, their job is to get signatures. They will tell you anything. And we know from the First Amendment 3, a lot of people are lied to just get it to sign it. And so there are no conservative initiative petitions whatsoever right now. So in Missouri, somebody's asking you to sign a petition. It is from the left.
Yeah, this might upset a handful of people, but because I do know that the primaries are coming up here in about a year or so, but
less than a year. Yeah.
But things like this, it feels like when you put the Christmas decorations up just a little bit too early.
Yeah.
And no, wait a few months, wait till after at least New Year before you do all this.
Problem is that they're running out of time. They've only got so much time to get them. There's a deadline from the Secretary of State's office. So, but they do have enough time, but they've got a big number that they have to get, and they can't waste any time on it. By the way, it is officially too early to put up Christmas decorations anytime before, I'd say, December 20th. But then again, I've been accused of being a Scrooge.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I will actually push back on that. And I'm not even the biggest, I'm not the biggest Christmas. I'm very much a Grinch, but I would say wait until after Thanksgiving.
At least then, yes.
Yes.
At least
you don't have to wait until the 20th, but you can wait until at least around or preferably after Thanksgiving before you put your stuff
I've seen Christmas stuff in stores now.
I know
it is ridiculous.
Why?
Ridiculous.
Call in, please. Call us and tell us, why are you buying Christmas decorations this early? Let Halloween happen first, please.
In other words, what's wrong with you? That's a better, more blunt way to say it. Okay. Last minute here, then we're going to go to our information segment. I noticed something we've talked about before, where on Fridays, late in the afternoon or evenings, a lot of times there's what's called taking out the trash, meaning politicians sort of dump news out there on Friday night when they're hoping not as many people are paying attention. And then by Monday, it's 2 or 3 days later. And so we've moved on to other stuff. The president's physical, he had his physical. He gets like 2 or 3 a year, and they declared him in perfect health and everything. You're thinking, well, why would they put it on Friday night? I would think, an 80-year-old guy, they would. Well, it turns out that among the things they announced as well is that he got a COVID booster shot.
Oh,
so I mean, I'm watching some social media and stuff. Does that bug you? Does that bother you? What do you think? I'll ask the question a little bit later on today.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
If you're worried about losing your health insurance through Medicaid, we have great news for you. New government regulations have expanded the Affordable Care Act. And now you may qualify to get health insurance for you and your family through the Affordable Care Act. Call now to learn if you qualify. We know the healthcare regulations regarding Medicaid, and we've helped thousands of people find quality, affordable health insurance. Plus, all our research is free to you. So call us. With just one call, we'll shop from hundreds of different insurance companies to find you the right affordable health insurance plan. So if you're worried about losing your Medicaid insurance, call right now. Speak with a licensed agent and find how you may qualify for a new health insurance plan.
800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. That's 800-479-0931. Paid for by the Health Insurance Hotline.
KLGY HD3. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump calls it an incredible triumph for Israel and the world. All 20 living hostages captured by Hamas more than 2 years ago have been released. They were freed under the first phase of the Trump-Gaza ceasefire hostage release deal. Elena Zajcik, waiting to greet a newly freed loved one, says it's been a long, terribly difficult ordeal, but now a crushing weight has finally been lifted.
Really excited. Like, I haven't smiled like this in, probably over 2 years at this point.
The bodies of 28 deceased hostages are also to be returned to Israel. Hundreds of Palestinian prisoners being released by Israel. Busloads of them have been arriving in Ramallah in the West Bank. There's thunderous applause for President Trump. He arrived at Israel's parliament a short time ago, where he has been welcomed by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
President Trump, the Knesset welcomes you and your distinguished delegation to Jerusalem, our eternal capital. This is your first visit to Israel since you recognize Jerusalem as our capital and moved the embassy here. Thank you, President Trump, for that.
Mr. Trump is delivering a speech, and later there will be a peace summit in Egypt. A nor'easter has brought high winds, coastal flooding to parts of the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, where flood and high wind warnings are in place.
The coastal flooding will be across areas that typically see the coastal flooding when we have big storms. Rainfall will not be as big an impact, even though there will be heavy rainfall amounts across the Northeast, anywhere from 1 to 4 inches from New York City over to Boston.
That's Bob Oravec at the National Weather Service. No end in sight to the government shutdown, now entering its 13th day. Watching Wall Street, the Dow futures up 398 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 433. More on these stories at townhall.com.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Most of us stay dry today under considerable cloudiness, but a select few might see a quick passing shower this morning and this afternoon. Showers more likely to the west and north of St. Louis, and even there, they're going to be spotty at best, I'm afraid. Highs will range from the upper 70s to low 80s this afternoon, depending on how much sunshine breaks through in your neighborhood. And we're dry and partly cloudy tonight, down to 62 for the low. Partly cloudy on Tuesday, slightly warmer at 82. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Hi, I'm Rodney Wallner.
And I'm Jen Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Jen, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission plan?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What's the best time to sell your home?
Right now, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new NewsTalk STL app.
On my way to work in the morning.
Usually I'm in the car.
I listen on the app in my car every morning going to work.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Mike Ferguson.
Look at that guy, how handsome he is.
Gabe Phifer.
I don't really care, Margaret.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up, St. Louis.
Don't be kind, don't be gentle. Pimp slap the tut-tutters.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
Another Illinois politician goes from power to prison as of today.
Oh, nice.
The long storied tradition in Illinois continues, locking up politicians. Also, the sheriff keeps his job for the moment.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
all right.
Yep.
The saga continues.
Yep. And both Mizzou and the Illini have new rankings in the college football polls. It is 6:06. Let's go and get started with the news dump.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
All right. Another Illinois politician heads to prison. 83-year-old former Speaker of the House Michael Madigan reports to his new accommodations today.
Wow.
Yeah. He has until 2 p.m. to show up at the prison. Madigan sentenced to 7.5 years after being convicted of 10 federal counts related to corruption in office. He's also been fined $2.5 million. Madigan is appealing those convictions. He's not going to serve the full 7.5, assuming he even lives that long.
Sure, yeah.
But I was reading a couple of articles on this. I found the one on WGN's website.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently since the mid-1970s, 2,500 public officials have been convicted of something in Illinois.
The Illinois politics to prison pipeline is operating apace.
Basically,
I love it.
Now, hey, I'm all for it.
Now, if only they could kind of shorten the distance to go from politics to prison, because a lot of these guys, they serve in office for so long,
Yep.
they still continue to rack up their influence and their changes that they inflict upon the people of Illinois. So maybe speed that up, guys.
Right, exactly. And by the way, Illinois candidate for governor, Darren Bailey, going to be with us at 8:35. Going to be on the program here. Okay, the feud continues between the Trump administration and Democratic leaders around the country, especially in Illinois, as National Guard troops are being deployed as part of the crackdown on crime and also as a measure of defending ICE and DHS agents and things like that. Governor J.B. Pritzker was on ABC's This Week reacting to the president's call for his arrest for failing to protect ICE officers.
This administration, led by a 34-time convicted felon,
is threatening to jail people that are their political opponents.
National Guard troops from Texas are stationed outside of Chicago despite a lawsuit from the state and the city to block the deployment, which is there's a temporary block on that right now by the judge, but they're still stationed there.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering about that, and so are any new deployments being blocked by that judge?
By that judge, no.
Okay,
but other judges like in Portland and everything. So it's not just the one judge.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Loaded dice is still on the public payroll, at least for right now. A judge rejects the state's effort to remove him from office late last week. KMOV's Corey Stark has a reaction from Missouri's top lawyer.
Attorney General Catherine Hanaway tells First Alert 4 a sheriff who is charged with retaliating against witnesses and confined to his home cannot possibly lead a functioning law enforcement agency. That statement goes on to say the law demands accountability and the people of St. Louis deserve leadership worthy of their trust, end quote. The sheriff will be back in federal court on Tuesday for a bond hearing on the new felony charges. Until then, Montgomery remains under house arrest.
The actual trial in state court to remove Montgomery from office is scheduled for next month.
Right. Now, this immediate removal, that was, I won't say a long shot, but it's a different effort than the Quo Warranto removals, right? So,
well, that was the Quo Warranto. Basically, the state, Andrew Bailey and now Catherine Hanaway, were essentially saying, look, judge, here's all the evidence. Just kick him.
Just do it right now.
Just do it right now. Let's do it. And the judge's like, no, we're going to have a trial.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So basically it's going to continue. The effort's going to continue just in a less expedited manner.
They swung for the fences and now they have to actually, generate the runs.
Right.
I got you. Yeah. So I'm not totally surprised by this.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting the home run on that one.
No, but they swung for the fence.
Yep.
Like I said. Okay. President Trump is in Israel now, and Hamas has now released the last 20 living Israeli hostages this morning, actually in about the last hour or so that has happened. Before landing in Israel, the president was speaking with reporters about the ceasefire deal that he was basically right in the middle of brokering.
We're going to Egypt after Israel, and we're going to meet all of the leaders of the very powerful and big countries and very rich countries and others, and they're all into this deal. Everybody's into it.
And there are still dozens of dead Israeli hostages that Hamas still has the corpses that they still have not turned over. So what's going to happen is that those 20 hostages have been released by Hamas, and in exchange, Israel is going to release 1,900 Hamas terrorists back to Hamas.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
So it's part of the whole prisoner exchange thing. We've seen that before.
Yeah.
And it's usually like 5-10 to 1 or something like that.
At least,
is the
in this case 20 for 1,900.
Right.
Yeah.
So actually worked out pretty good in their case. Well,
yeah, it's about the same. They don't have any hostages anymore. So there's leverage that Hamas has given up on this. So so there's that. So basically Hamas is going to reload now.
Yeah. I mean, that's generally what happens. And it's sadly, that's pretty much just the modus operandi is that, there's an attack. There are casualties on the Israeli side. They retaliate. They try to crush the opposition. They do a really good job of it, and then it's just a matter of time before they come back again. So, but this stuff is ingrained in their culture.
Yeah, the next move is going to be obviously from Hamas, and it could be weeks, it could be months. There's going to be.
I think it may be years in this case.
Very well could be.
Yeah, but before a large scale one anyway.
Israel. Remember, all of this over the past 2 years has been because Hamas did October 7th.
Yes.
And because Hamas attacked and they keep punching at the bigger, stronger kid. And Israel made it very clear they're going to chase down Hamas. I mean, they found Hamas leadership being, hidden in Qatar, recently. And, they've gone, found other places around the Middle East where all of these Islamic nations have been sort of turning a blind eye, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yep. Good thing we don't know you're here kind of stuff,
right.
So we'll see where that goes. But this actually is having an impact here in the US, this deal. For instance, gas prices decreased by about 5 cents over the past 2 weeks.
Oh, stability does that.
Yeah. National average is now $3.22 per gallon. It's a lot lower than that here. That's for sure. According to industry analyst Trilby Lundberg of the Lundberg survey, she says the recent developments in the Israeli-Hamas war is impacting gasoline prices.
Late last week, oil prices were pushed down a lot by the October 8 announcement of phase one for a peace plan between Israel and Hamas was agreed to by both parties.
Yeah, there was almost an immediate 16-cent drop just when the deal was announced.
Right.
So that's a big deal. All right, we got to do that thing again, Gabe.
Which thing is that?
Yeah, the one where we play the updated dueling sound bites from the Republicans, Democrats, and they say the exact same thing every single day. Okay, well, we're a news organization. I guess
we're obligated.
Let's start with Democrats here. Hakeem Jeffries, and this is not a soundbite from a week ago. This is actually the new one. So here we go.
We're fighting for everyday Americans, working class Americans, and middle class Americans, by the way, who are also dealing with a cost of living crisis in this country because costs are far too high.
Yeah, that started about 4 years ago.
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know what he's claiming here.
Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
They're trying their best to distract the American people from the simple fact that they've chosen a partisan fight so that they can prove to their Marxist rising base in the Democrat Party that they're willing to fight Trump and Republicans.
Okay, both of those sound bites were from Fox News Sunday, obviously on Fox News channel there. Okay, the Blues road trip continues north of the border tonight. They are in Vancouver to play the Canucks. Puck drops at 6:30. The game's going to be on FanDuel. After Mizzou's 3-point loss to Alabama. Did you guys watch that game at all?
I didn't. I missed it.
I will tell you, I thought Mizzou was going to lose by 10, 3-point game.
Oh, wow.
And Mizzou, last minute interception when they had to do long passes.
Yeah.
It was a close game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Mizzou dropped in the national rankings, but not by much. In both the AP and coaches polls, the Tigers went down 2 spots to number 16. Basically, the poll's they lost, but they lost to Alabama.
Right, exactly.
And it was only 3 points. Let's see here. Illinois got pummeled by number 1 ranked Ohio State this weekend. The Illini dropped to number 25 in the coaches poll, but they dropped out of the top 25 in the AP poll.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
A cross between Socrates and Dirty Harry.
On News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin. Get up, get up. What are you waiting for? Get up, get up, get up.
For 3 generations, one family has ruled the road in quality asphalt paving. Ruby's King of the Road Hot Mix Asphalt Paving. Family owned and operated. We're your leading authority for driveways, lanes, and parking areas. No project is too small or too large. We cater to both residential and commercial needs with unbeatable quality at just $38 per square yard plus labor. Call 636-295-9949. 636-295-9949. Ruby's King of the Road Hot Mix Asphalt Paving. You save when we pave.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a 2-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
Hey, it's Monday, and that means great pizza at a great price. All 3 Steph's Pizza locations make Monday great again with a 16-inch large pizza for just the price of a small. You heard right, a large Steph's Pizza, however you would like it, for the price of a small. All 3 St. Charles County locations of Steph's Pizza are making Mondays great again, and they have a different special every night of the week. Check it out at stephspizza.com.
Hey, this is Vince Colonnese. I'll talk to you tonight at 8. But now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show on News Talk STL.
Boy, there's some drama happening in St. Charles County politics.
St. Louis County politics?
No, St. Charles County.
St. Charles County. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yes, St. Charles County. Yes.
Okay, so it's political,
Mhm.
and it's true crime,
Mhm.
and it's a courtroom drama all wrapped up in one.
Oh, wow.
This
Okay.
is crazy.
All the wine-ons are really excited now.
Oh my goodness. This is something here. Okay, so the Post-Dispatch had an article on it, but they were a little late to the game. It was the Missouri Independent, which you know that they love covering the Republican conflict because obviously
Oh, yes.
Independent's on the left. But oh my goodness. Okay, so here's the basic outline of this. So there's a state representative named Michael Kostlow. He's a Republican.
Mhm.
I don't know him. I've never met him. I don't know if he's one of the conservative ones or the established one. I don't know really much about him. But in 2024, in the Republican primary, he beat a guy named Max Calfo. And I guess this got real ugly and real personal.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, in a local area here. So here's what's going on is that it turns out that Representative Kostlow pled guilty to a felony stealing charge in 2008 over some kind of, I don't know, it was some kind of purchase of something that went south and everybody disagreed on it, and he ended up pleading guilty and making something go away.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. It's random.
Okay. So here's the thing. Yeah, the details are records released last month. Judge Gregory Voiles of Lowndes County, Georgia, found that the facts show the defendant entered a plea of guilty. There was no restriction on releasing those court records. So basically, the theft charge, it was kind of a weird thing. It's not like he was caught burglarizing something and he didn't rob somebody at gunpoint or anything like that. But still, he pled guilty to the charge.
Mhm.
So here's the thing is that the guy he beat in that primary, Max Calfo, and again, I know nothing about him. I've never talked to him. I've never met him. He is now saying you have to sign a document to run for office in Missouri that says you have never been convicted, ever pled guilty to a felony in order to qualify to be a member of the legislature and run for that office.
Oh, boy.
And his argument is, well, obviously Mike Kostlow said that he had never done that. And this was in Georgia. He didn't do it in Missouri.
Right.
And
Hey,
he
this
says,
is Vince
well,
Colonnese. I'll talk to you tonight at 8. But now back to the Mike Ferguson in the morning show on News Talk STL.
you calm down, Vince.
Okay, you saw that. I did not.
I
know
know.
you were hands off the board, and it just fired.
That was Soros the Gremlin.
Soros the Gremlin at work again.
So relax, Vince and Soros. You guys relax. But and this is the 108th district, state representative district here.
All right.
So according to this article here that I saw on the Independent, Kostlow is basically saying I'm going to take this into the court, try to get this guy, disqualified from a re-election.
Wow. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, technically, I suppose that's a disqualifiable thing, right?
Well, if that is what actually happened, I mean, and them's the rules,
right? That's the problem here. Is if the requirement is to never have pled guilty or been convicted of a felony,
yeah,
and you pled guilty to a felony, well, you're disqualified,
right?
That's how it works. That's my understanding.
And here's the thing: is the people of this poor district here, right here? Oh my goodness!
Mhm.
So remember, this is the same district that Justin Hicks was the state representative on, and he decided he was going to run for Congress. Which everybody said, "What are you doing?" And then it turns out he had a domestic violence case against him back in 2010. So he's now just kind of washed out of politics. So they've gone from that now to this here, and so the disputes basically haven't been resolved on this. And so there's it's just a weird situation here. According to Missouri law, any person seeking to run for elective office, quoting now, who has been found guilty of or pled guilty to a felony isn't qualified. If the offense occurred in another state, then the crime would have to be a felony here. So if
Okay.
something's legal here,
Right. Yes.
and it was a felony somewhere else, then you can make an argument here. But I'm pretty sure theft is illegal. no matter
Theft
what
is
here.
illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah. As
Yeah.
a felony is felonious behavior.
Right.
In pretty much all states of the union.
Okay, so
Except California, I
in the case at hand here, Georgia court records say that Koslow was charged with theft by agreeing to buy a paintball gun, barrel kit, and $150 in trade for an expensive paintball gun, but then the deal fell apart. It reneged on it.
Okay.
And so he was charged based on somebody, I guess arguing you took the stuff, but you didn't give me my stuff or something
Right.
along those lines.
Right.
And so it ended up, he ended up pleading guilty, probably to make it go away. There was no time done, nothing like that. But technically he pled guilty and it was a felony charge.
Wow. Okay. Now, is there any recourse for him? Could he somehow petition for it to be expunged or revisited or somehow, you know what I mean? Are there legal maneuverings to get out of this?
Yes, but so the short answer is to your question, yes.
Okay.
But what's at stake here is that the argument being made is that he signed a document saying that he's never been convicted of or pled guilty to.
Right.
Now,
That's
if
true.
you get that expunged, okay, then it's not on your record.
Right.
It's just not there.
But at the time that you signed the pledge saying that you hadn't been,
it is on the record.
and you were, then yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Wow. All the legal things are always funny to me.
I know. So we got the courtroom drama here.
Yeah.
We got the true crime drama.
Oh my
over,
gosh.
over a paintball. And 2008. So you got somebody who's in his 20s. I'm sure.
Man. Oh my gosh. I would hate it if a bad Facebook Marketplace exchange turned into such a gigantic deal in my career later. You know what I mean? That's what it sounds like. What happened?
I mean, there are a lot of qualifications. You can't just say, well, I'm a citizen, I'm going to run for office. There are things like, I remember when I ran for, I don't remember if it was the utility board or the board of aldermen. I won both of those races way back when. And it turns out they're like, I got a call like, Mike, you owe $30 at the community center, cause I'd canceled my membership, but it was like, I canceled it after the first of the month. And so I'm like, oh, well, what's that mean? They're like, well, you gotta go pay the $30.
Right.
Okay. So I went and paid it and they're like, okay, now you're done. Now you're good. But because you couldn't have any outstanding debt to the government at all. So no tax, tax liens, tax, stuff in dispute, or you had to take care of all that. And I had like 1 month that I canceled my membership after the payment date. And I'm like, okay, well, I ran and paid $30. That was the end of it. It wasn't like anybody was coming after me. They're just like, hey, heads up, we can't approve this until you do that. And so you've heard of people, running, and turns out that they've, been taken to court by the IRS and all that kind of stuff. So in this case, what do you do if you're a voter there? And again, I don't know anything about either one of these guys. So I don't know who's a good representative, who would be a better, I don't know. I have no
anybody's
idea.
positions on anything or anything like that.
I don't know anything about either one of them.
Now, imagine, having to running for office in Illinois, and you have to, fill out some of these forms, and somehow you end up in prison anyway.
Right.
It's just fascinating to me.
And let me also update on that Illinois side. I said 2,500 had been convicted.
Yeah.
According to WGN, 2,500 have actually gone to jail.
Oh,
since
wow.
1976.
Oh, wow. So being behind bars was part of the equation.
Apparently it kind of is. It better be worth it out there.
Jeez.
I mean,
what's up with you guys?
So, but that's what was funny when I'm reading this article, and it was published, I guess, Friday. And I'm looking, I'm like, I got to bring this up on Monday. This, because at one part I'm thinking, this is really sad that this is the kind of thing that these voters in the 108th district are being subjected to.
Yes.
Because I had forgotten that was Justin Hicks' district. And so he had to basically wash out of politics in shame because it turned out he had that domestic violence accusation against him.
Right.
And then you got this situation where a guy was elected, duly elected, overwhelmingly elected. It's a pretty red district. But now you got the accusations that he lied on the thing. And so in the article here, and I didn't look at the Post-Dispatch because it's Post-Dispatch, but they may very well have just published this article here. Kostlow in response said Calfo has been trying unsuccessfully to get him arrested, calling police agencies in Jefferson City and St. Charles County, as well as asking the FBI to get involved. He's quoted as saying, everyone recognizes him for what he is. So frankly, I'm not worried. He's just a thorn in the side.
Right.
So I guess you got a personal beef, a personal grudge that's going on here.
Does it always start with a personal grudge? It kind of feels like it always.
Yeah.
The Montgomery situation seems to have started with a personal grudge too, didn't it?
It was against, if that's right, against Sheriff Betts.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because they had a very, very narrow election before that. The Betts barely won, and this time then Montgomery barely won.
You know, the qualifications like the one that was signed on to, you know, the idea is like, I haven't been convicted of felony. I haven't even pled guilty to a felony. All of those are intended to filter out the badmen, right?
Right.
like let's keep the certain types of people in our society from even bothering us with trying to run for certain offices. And that's kind of, we're trying to have a pre-vetting of the minimum qualifications we want of our political leaders, right? But we still end up with garbage people in office. So how does is there room to change or maybe update our qualifications? Do we need to set the bar higher so we get more quality people?
Well, I mean, honestly, I think that's the voter's job. I in this case right here, if he pled guilty,
right,
and if that actually turns out to be a violation of Missouri law, that he, you know, then it's the problem's not with the standards of qualifications. The problem's with somebody who said something that wasn't true, if that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, it's very much a sort of a I don't want to say he said thing, but it's very much one of those weird, nuanced situations that kind of bubbles up in the middle of this. Because I don't think having a bad Facebook Marketplace interaction should disqualify you from political office.
Yeah, or whatever
happened.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it shouldn't except you pled guilty.
Except you pled guilty to, and that's did nobody explain to him that pleading guilty to a felony means you're now a felon for the rest of your life?
Yeah, that's what that means.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it feels like the 20-year-old him did not understand what he was getting himself into when he pled guilty.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I don't know what's going on. But look, on the other side of the river, Illinois voters have a chance to fire J.B. Pritzker, speaking of a potentially felonious Illinoisan, and derail his hopes of being president. Darren Bailey wants to replace Pritzker, and he'll be on the show at 8:35. But in the meantime, check out this information segment, and we'll be back talking about Second Amendment stuff.
Mike Ferguson in the morning
I just want to say to the men of this country, just shut up and step up.
on NewsTalkSTL. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Live and local.
Welcome home. And whoosh, sitting in traffic, stuck in a jam, and being entertained by Vic and thunder-stealing Ken.
This is NewsTalkSTL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Most of us stay dry today under considerable cloudiness, but a select few might see a quick passing shower this morning and this afternoon. Showers more likely to the west and north of St. Louis, and even there, they're going to be spotty at best, I'm afraid. Highs will range from the upper 70s to low 80s this afternoon, depending on how much sunshine breaks through in your neighborhood. They were dry and partly cloudy tonight, down to 62 for the low. Partly cloudy on Tuesday, slightly warmer at 82. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Hi, Kirk Hilsinger here, and I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. I invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. You can stay connected with us to learn more about how you can get involved, make your voice heard, and contribute to our shared goals. Together, we can make a difference in the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri. For more info, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
People ask all the time, who the heck is Low Cost Airlines? Well, we're not just one airline. When you're talking to us, you're talking to everyone. We are the discount supermarket for all airline tickets. Plus, we have all the airlines and always have the best prices. American, Delta, United, plus all the specialized international airlines and a lot more. And we make it easy. We guarantee you'll talk to a live human in 60 seconds. You can have the rates you need and have your trip booked in 5 minutes. Now, how cool is that? And remember, when you're talking to us, it's like talking to every single airline available with one fast phone call. All you need to do is call and find the best prices to fly wherever it is you want to go. So are you ready? Call Low Cost Airlines right now. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
Colombo and Company.
On Monday, we'll start another week with the government shutdown. We'll get you the latest, plus Virginia Cruda from the Daily Wire, Paul Kurtman from PR Kurtman Investments, and AI expert Mike McCleary.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on NewsTalkSTL.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy, Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
At least 3. 1, 2, 3. Uno, dos, tres. Second Amendment groups are saying similar things. They say Attorney General Pam Bondi is not a friend of the Second Amendment and to gun owners.
Oh, boy.
Now, here's what was interesting is they had 3 different levels of statements. One went so far as to demand President Trump fire her. So I'll read what these gun groups are saying. And these were posted starting on Saturday. So I've reached out to one of them. Hopefully we'll get them on this week to talk about this. So what do you think? Let me know. 314-912-1019 or send us a note on social media here. Real quick. I saw petitioners out yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were out yesterday. Rachel and I were at the Legends and Lanterns Festival on Historic Main Street in St. Charles. Had a lot of fun out there. But one of the Respect Mo voters petitioners was there kind of in the middle of the whole thing. So parents are, pulling their kids around, all the music and the characters dressed up in the Halloween stuff and everything. And
I mean, it's a good place to be if you're a petitioner.
Sense. Right. Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of people in a small area. Yeah.
And to her credit, she was not out cajoling people as they were walking down.
Okay, she wasn't the serial harassers we've seen
was not.
with clipboards.
No, she was
Okay,
not.
all right.
She was kind of doing the body language. Hey, can we talk? But she didn't actually say anything.
Right.
I mean, I walked by and she made eye contact with me. Man, she doesn't obviously don't know who I am. She's probably not from around here for all we know.
Yeah.
But
kind of did the
yeah, exactly. they'll hold it up, and I just kept walking on and but I didn't see anybody signing the petition while I was there. I'm sure she got signatures.
Sure.
But understand that if you go to anything right now, that's what you're going to see.
Yes.
And to give credit where credit's due, the Freedom Principle guys, they put out a graphic on social media the other day that said decline to sign.
Nice.
Because as they pointed out accurately, that there are no conservative referendums and no conservative petitions being circulated right now in the state of Missouri. Not one.
Right.
None.
So all the people with clipboards are functioning in service of left-wing efforts.
Yeah. Now the one that I'm not going to get into, and
Okay.
I'm not going to get into the fight in St. Charles City. There's a petition to recall Mayor Dan Borgmeyer.
Okay.
Now,
that's a separate thing. then.
I'm neutral on that.
Right.
I don't I don't know enough. I will get both sides at some point if it looks like they've got enough momentum. So that is just a local city municipal nonpartisan thing.
Right.
Other than that, not a single conservative petition is being circulated. Not one.
Okay.
So regardless of what they tell you, anything that you're being asked to sign, it is from the left.
Yes. So they'll. By the way, there is no law against them lying to you to your face to tell you, whatever it is they think you want to hear as being on this thing. It's like, hey, do you want to help feed starving children? It's like, yeah. And you read the thing. It's like, wait a minute, this is about real estate taxes.
Right.
Right. Yeah. They can tell you anything. And of course, if you're just passing by and you're willing to sign and you sign it without reading the thing, now you're on the hook for having brought this to the attention of the voters.
Yeah. And I don't know if this petition gatherer was told, hey, here are the rules. If you start bugging people or harassing them, we're going to make you leave.
Right. Yeah.
Or if they were just better disciplined, saying, hey, don't make us look bad. This is a festival, which by the way, it was really enjoyable.
Oh,
It
that's
was really
good.
fun.
That's good.
And all sorts of characters.
Yeah. Those festival organizers tend to be a little more on the ball in terms of trying to keep certain people's activities.
Yeah, but you can't
You know.
you can't not let them there.
Well,
I mean,
yes,
it's
true.
a public street.
But they'll be a little aggressive with you if you're if
Yeah.
you're disrupting the flow and
Right.
the feel of what they're trying to do. I've seen it a few times. They're like, yeah, hey, calm all that down. We don't do that here.
Yeah. So just a complete side note, historic, the folks at whoever are doing all those things at Historic Main Street in St. Charles, they do a fantastic job.
Mhm,
So
sure do.
anytime they do 2, 3, 4 a year of different things. And there'll be one around Christmas time as well. And Dickens characters and the actors dressed up in the costumes and all the sort of thing. They do a great job. So it's a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it out there. Okay, let's talk about these gun groups here. This is interesting. National Association for Gun Rights on X, on Twitter. Let me just read their tweet. The National Association for Gun Rights is officially calling for Attorney General Pam Bondi to be fired.
Whoa.
Those are not words we take lightly, but Pam Bondi has given us no choice. While we all had major concerns with the nomination of Pam Bondi as AG, we hoped for the best and that she would prove a staunch advocate for the right to keep and bear arms. Unfortunately, it's been 9 months since Bondi was confirmed, and it has become increasingly evident that she has failed the Second Amendment. Now we are taking action. We are calling for Bondi's immediate termination. And that's a National Association for Gun Rights. Let's see here. The other groups that I've got here. The next one, our friends at the American Firearms Association.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this wasn't specifically leveled at Pam Bondi.
Right.
But here's what they had to say. 281 days since Republicans sworn in with total control of the House and the Senate. 0 wins for gun owners. 2A supporters sat on the sidelines in 2018 because of the lack of wins. What do you think they'll do in 2026 if the Republicans don't take action? Good luck at the polls.
Oh, boy.
Okay. And then Gun Owners of America. And it says Trump's Department of Justice, and they say especially Harmeet Dillon, has done much to protect the Second Amendment, but Attorney General Pam Bondi has overseen too many infringements in court and by the ATF. We can't say no one has fought better or has a better track record while compromising with our rights. No compromise. And so part of what the case is here is there is a case that predates Trump that the Trump administration now has taken over. And I found this on news28.com, Second Amendment News website. Bondi, Department of Justice, denies universal relief and requests gun rights group private membership list.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and I've seen a number of stories on this. And the article starts off, the Pam Bondi Justice Department continues its anti-Second Amendment engagements, this time instructing a court to deny universal relief to all gun owners and, for perhaps the first time ever, asking a court to force a plaintiff to hand over its private membership list. And the case, if you want to look it up for yourself, is Reese versus Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosive, which originated in 2020 when the gun rights groups and the individual plaintiffs challenged Louisiana's prohibition on handgun purchases for adults under 21. Now, in January of 2025, the Fifth Circuit, the Court of Appeals Fifth Circuit, sent the case back down for review. So in that process, the ATF, now under the Department of Justice, issued a 16-page brief to the district court, as requested by the court. And in the brief, the ATF, the Department of Justice, made 2 main arguments attempting to sway the court's decision. Those 2 main arguments, according to Second Amendment News: no universal relief should be entered. And the other one, the court's judgment should be limited to the 3 individual plaintiffs and to any identified and verified member of the organizational plaintiffs who was a member when the suit was filed. So according to Second Amendment News here, I'm just going to quote what they wrote. In essence, the ATF was trying to keep the judgment and the relief it provided as narrow as possible and prevent it from being applied to gun owners, broadly declaring, quoting, to the extent that plaintiffs might request this court to enter declaratory or injunctive relief universal in scope, such a request would be inappropriate. Yeah.
Wow.
And here's the other part on this. According again to Second Amendment News, This posture is blatantly hostile to gun owners, but not nearly as egregious as the ATF's next request, which is to turn over membership list of the gun rights groups listed in the complaint. And that includes Firearms Policy Coalition, Second Amendment Foundation, Louisiana Shooting Association. And so the court apparently agreed with that, but those organizations are just refusing to hand over the list.
Right.
And so this has happened under the direction of Pam Bondi. Now,
Yeah.
I remember I had heartburn over her being nominated in the first place. She's got a terrible Second Amendment record in as Attorney General in the state of Florida. And now you've got gun groups that Republicans rely on heavily. They just assume that gun groups are going to show up and support Republicans. Now, the other side's worse.
Yes, obviously.
But the thing is with the Second Amendment groups,
you got to deliver.
You got to deliver because they're not going to go try to get Democrats elected. But if you take their votes and their activism and their mailing list and their donations and you take that for granted, they'll punish you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take much to do it. You just stay home.
Yeah.
That's really how it works. And for the most part, what you generally see, or what you should see out of your politicians, particularly of the various parties, is they look at their constituents and it's like, well, okay, we need to make sure each one of these constituent groups feels seen and heard, and feel as though we are actually accomplishing something for them in order to motivate them to come out, especially in these off-year elections. And none of that's happening for the Second Amendment group. And this is weird. This is weird for a Republican controlled government currently. So we've got, I mean, look, it's narrow, but we've got all three basically we've got all three branches. So.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, in Missouri, you've got strong Second Amendment Republicans.
Yes.
And they have actually, they're doing the work at the state level.
They have delivered.
And so American Firearms Association, and we have them on the show probably once a month. They don't mess around. They know the cases. They're very active. You want to know what's going on in the Second Amendment stuff, American Firearms Association. And so for them to be one of the three groups, because there are disagreements within the Second Amendment community on tactics and strategy.
Yeah.
But they're all overall over the course of a few days, they all are saying the same thing. Republicans, you're letting us down. Do not count on us unless you start delivering. Because again, they can say, let the chips fall where they may next November. Don't blame us. You can't expect us to really step up and fight for you if you're not fighting for us. And so that's one thing they've got to get done.
Now, Congress was having so many things on its plate right now. I'm not sure they have the political capital to push through any sort of gun bill that would national gun bill that would be particularly good. So it really is up to some of these executive agencies to bring out some of these legal wins and legal protections, and they're just not delivering under a Pam Bondi. So we'll see where that goes. Illinois adds to the list of politicians being locked up at the Gray Bar Motel at 6:50. We'll tell you which one starts his term in prison today.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You know, they have the Muslim ban. There is no white guy ban. So what do we do about that?
On NewsTalkSTL.
Jamie Ullman here with the great Eric Swanson of Newstedter's Fine Jewelers, Doherty Ferry and Big Bend. Tell me about Wow Diamonds.
Wow Diamonds. We call them that because when people come in and look at the diamonds, everyone says, wow. We feature those in natural diamonds, the mine diamonds. They're perfectly cut, polished, and proportioned. Not all diamonds come out of the cutting process the same, and ours are perfect. That's why they're called Wow Diamonds.
Newstedter's Fine Jewelers right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend, wowdiamonds.com.
Do you love going on a cruise, or have you always dreamt on going on the cruise vacation of your life? With dozens of cruise companies, who do you call to find the right vacation and deal for you? Now you can make one phone call and shop all the best deals on every single cruise line in the world. You can't get that by calling one cruise line. We have them all, with experts that know the ins and outs of every cruise ship and can tell you the best cruise for your vacation needs. Our cruise packages start at $149. Plus, we offer free internet, free guest packages, and cash back deals. So now is your chance to book the cruise of your lifetime. Call the cruise hotline right now and shop every single cruise line in the world. Here's the number. Call 800-430-7924. 800-430-7924. 800-430-7924. That's 800-430-7924.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stiefel. Request a portfolio review from your Stiefel financial advisor at stiefel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey folks, Jamie Allman here, waiting for you for the 3 Martini Lunch, the Common Sense Radio, the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Now back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, politician goes to prison. Just leave that as the headline here.
So good news. You're stealing my thunder, Mike.
I know, sir. Oh man, got an update on Sheriff Alfred Loaded Dice Montgomery. He gets to keep his job at least for now, and Mizzou goes up, or no, Mizzou goes down just a little bit. Illini go down a lot in the college football rankings. It is, what the heck time is it? 6:49 right now. Let's dump some news on you.
Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news.
The morning news dump.
All right, another Illinois politician heads to prison. 83-year-old former Speaker of the House Michael Madigan reports to his new home today. He has until 2 p.m. to show up at the prison. Madigan is sentenced to 7.5 years after being convicted of 10 federal counts related to corruption in office. He's also been fined $2.5 million. Madigan is appealing the convictions. He had actually asked the court to hold off his stay in jail.
Right.
He's reporting to jail while he appeals, and the court said no.
Nah, you can appeal from inside.
Yeah, remember he was charged with like 60 different things, and he was convicted on 10 of them.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's like, hey, you've been a corrupt politician for many years. Maybe it's time to pay the piper. Now, of course, he's lived a good life on all that graft, right? So he's in his 80s or something. He won. but
there's no way he's going to spend all 7.5 years.
No, there's no way. But still, the like I've said before, the Illinois politics to prison pipeline, functions apace.
Yep. All right. A judge, as you know, blocking President Trump's deployment of National Guard troops to Chicago for 2 weeks at the time. So we're looking at about a week and a half left on that. Speaking outside of the ICE facility in Broadview, Illinois, that's been where all the left-wing rioters have been attacking federal law enforcement. Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth accusing the Trump administration of having ulterior motives.
They are trying to normalize having troops on our streets, and they're doing this all across this great nation. They are trying to normalize an extension of presidential power that is not appropriate under the Constitution.
The thing is that there is a place for that exact discussion and debate.
Right.
We should be having those big picture things, but to point at the left wing violent activists who are attacking federal law enforcement and then saying, what we need to talk about is why it's the fault of this federal law enforcement.
Why are leftists so bad at picking martyrs?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they'll make a martyr out of some of the worst characters in our society and expect us to care.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing? It's like the lady who rammed into a DHS vehicle with her assault rifle, basically trying to hurt or kill somebody. I'm sorry, her weapon, semi-automatic weapon. She's not the one you need to protect. No, I don't know why any society would say, oh yeah, of course we want to. It's so unfair that she was shot and put in jail.
Or that Shrek looking WGN journalist. Good Lord, did you see her? Man. And she's like, you can't arrest me. I'm a journalist. We're like, you attacked officers. Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Loaded Dice is still on the public payroll, at least for the moment. So a judge rejects the state's effort to remove him from office late last week. KMOV's Corey Stark has the reaction from Missouri's top lawyer.
Attorney General Catherine Hanaway tells First Alert 4 a sheriff who is charged with retaliating against witnesses and confined to his home cannot possibly lead a functioning law enforcement agency. That statement goes on to say the law demands accountability and the people of St. Louis deserve leadership worthy of their trust, end quote. The sheriff will be back in federal court on Tuesday for a bond hearing on the new felony charges. Until then, Montgomery remains under house arrest.
Okay, so the actual trial in state court to remove him from office is scheduled for next month. So basically, the attorney general is basically asking for a just quick ruling. Judge, it's obvious. Let's just go ahead and do this. The judge says, no, we got to go do the trial.
Yeah.
So that's where that is.
Yeah. So it's the effort to remove him isn't over. It's just that the swing for the fences, didn't.
The judge didn't give him the shortcut. Yep. All right. President Trump is in Israel. And this is after Hamas has released what is believed to be the last living Israeli hostages this morning. And before landing in Israel, the president spoke with reporters about the ceasefire deal that he was at the center of negotiations.
We're going to Egypt after Israel, and we're going to meet all of the leaders of the very powerful and big countries and very rich countries and others, and they're all into this deal. Everybody's into it.
So at this point, Hamas still has some remains of Israeli hostages who were murdered by the terrorists. So Israel gets back the last 20 living hostages. Hamas gets 1,900 terrorists to be released by Israel.
Yeah. Now, if that sounds unfair, it's because it is. But that seems to be the standard operating procedure for whatever deals we eventually see of hostage releases. There's usually a number of real terrorists who've done real bad things, not political prisoners, who are released by Israel in exchange. And the ratio is always crazy.
Yep.
5, 10, 15 to 1.
But what do the Israeli people care about? Getting their people
back. They
back.
care about getting their people back.
They will pay unbelievable prices for that.
Now, if Hamas had released the hostages to begin with, most of Gaza would still be standing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So look, Hamas does pay a price. The Palestinian society that supports Hamas does pay a price.
Absolutely.
But certainly it's just a matter of time before this happens again, which is the sad thing.
One culture values death and martyrdom. One culture values life.
They do. And that's not an ideological statement. That is a demonstration of fact by any stretch of the imagination. If you've seen how they instruct their children and the things that they value.
All right. Dueling sound bites time.
Okay, we got to do this again.
Got to do this sort of thing.
All right. So yeah, technically this is news, and we're technically a news organization, so we have to report on the news.
That's right.
And some of the news is about to shut down.
Okay, so this is from both of these are from Fox News Sunday. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Republicans are bad.
We're fighting for everyday Americans, working class Americans, and middle class Americans, by the way, who are also dealing with a cost of living crisis in this country because costs are far too high.
Okay, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, Democrats are bad.
They're trying their best to distract the American people from the simple fact that they've chosen a partisan fight so that they can prove to their Marxist rising base in the Democrat Party that they're willing to fight Trump and Republicans.
All right, there you go. By the way, so I'm going to do the dueling sound bites, as long as this goes on, because, again, it's news. But they're going to say the exact same thing every single day.
Every single time.
And I'm going to keep pointing out they're saying the same thing every single day.
Well, and the carnival music is perfect because it feels like you're riding a merry-go-round. And it's like, hey, look, there's a white horse.
Yeah.
And then it comes back around. Hey, look, there's a white horse. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing over and over.
All right. The Blues road trip continues north of the border tonight. They are in Vancouver taking on the Canucks. Puck drops at 6:30 for that one. Okay. After Mizzou's 3-point loss to Alabama. Yeah. 3-point game, 27-24, if I remember right. They did drop in the national rankings because they lost the game, but they didn't drop by much. In both the AP and the coaches polls, the Tigers went down 2 spots to number 16. So at this stage of the game, they're now 5-1, meaning the season's over halfway over now at this point. So they're not going to be a contender to get into the final football playoffs.
Right.
But they could still end up in the top 10 and could end up in a very prestigious bowl. Illinois lost to number 1 ranked Ohio State this weekend. It was a pummeling. I'm just telling you. So the Illini dropped to number 25 in the coaches poll. They dropped out of the top 25 in the AP poll. I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings, but I think Illinois had been overranked for a couple weeks.
Yeah,
already. They're a good team, but they ain't that good. So their quarterback's impressive, but they have got a couple other players that really, but I did not think they were a top 20 team, to be real honest. Mizzou, I think probably, fairly they are a top 20 team this year. That was a good game. Mizzou, couple key mistakes, couple play calling mistakes by the coaches, but couple questionable calls by the official. But overall, Mizzou put on a really good game there. All right, American League Championship Series underway. The Mariners taking the first game over the Blue Jays. Final score in Toronto 3-2. Game 2 starts this afternoon at 4:03, which means I get to watch it. The National League Championship Series kicks off tonight at 7:08 with the Dodgers in Milwaukee to play the Brewers.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
Hi, it's Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show, and I'm here with Dr. Grant Black. And Grant, capitalism, that is increasingly under attack. But why is a free market system so important?
The simple answer, society is much better off because of free markets. Free markets allow individuals and business owners to freely choose what to consume, how to save, where to live and do business, what to produce, and how to protect our valuable resources, and so much more. And this can all happen without requiring heavy government interference. In a nutshell, free markets empower people to live their lives the way they choose. And this makes all our lives better.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
Basement with a Y. That's Basement E.
It's Basement T.
Basement E?
It's Basement T.
Oh, Basement T. Basement T. I get it. That's the basement waterproofing and foundation repair experts at Woods Basement Systems.
Right. The All Things Basement T experts at Woods Basement Systems will provide you a free estimate and dry up that wet basement and fix that cracked foundation. Call 800-388-9326 or go online to woodsbasementsystems.com.
That's woodsbasementsystems.com.
KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Declaring an end to the age of terror and death and the historic dawn of a new Middle East, President Trump has addressed the Israeli parliament, the Knesset.
We gather on a day of profound joy, of soaring hope, of renewed faith, and above all, a day to give our deepest thanks to the Almighty God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
It is a day of wild celebration in Israel, brought about by implementation of Phase 1 of the Trump-Gaza ceasefire hostage release deal.
Hamas has released all remaining living hostages held in Gaza as part of a ceasefire, pausing 2 years of war that pummeled the Gaza Strip, killed tens of thousands of Palestinians, and had left scores of captives in militant hands. The 20 will be reunited with their families and undergo medical checks. Over 1,900 Palestinian prisoners held by Israel are also to be released as part of the deal. The bodies of the remaining 28 dead hostages are also to be handed over as part of the deal, although the exact timing remains unclear. I'm Charles Delazes.
And Israel has started releasing more than 1,900 Palestinian prisoners and detainees, holding up its end of the bargain. Now, preparations underway for a peace summit in the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh. There was a brief disruption during President Trump's Knesset speech. The disruptors quickly removed from the legislative chamber. As President Trump's direction, members of the military are being paid despite the government shutdown now in its 13th day. Billions in unused Pentagon research money has been redirected to pay service members. Watching Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures are up 354 points. NASDAQ futures 399 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
Every day I speak with people who are worried and are feeling a lot of pressure because of credit card debt. That's why I'm very proud of what we do at Trinity. We just help. We give people the support they need, along with a real plan to become debt-free. Credit card bills are consolidated into a single monthly payment that is much less than what they were paying before. Most of our members end up saving thousands and even may improve their credit scores by as much as 200 points. I know from the bottom of my heart that I'm making a difference in the lives of the people we help. It just makes me really happy.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Julie, and I'm a Trinity counselor. Call me and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Most of us stay dry today under considerable cloudiness, but a select few might see a quick passing shower this morning and this afternoon. Showers more likely to the west and north of St. Louis, and even there, they're going to be spotty at best, I'm afraid. Highs will range from the upper 70s to low 80s this afternoon, depending on how much sunshine breaks through in your neighborhood. They were dry and partly cloudy tonight, down to 62 for the low. Partly cloudy on Tuesday, slightly warmer at 82. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 2 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today.
800-515-2380. That's 800-515-2380. Paid for by U.S. Med.
Mike Ferguson.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Gabe Phifer.
It's the sugar honey iced tea, baby.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
All right. I've seen a lot of this floating around this weekend here. So let me start with the answers to the questions.
Mm-hmm.
No, Cotter is not getting its own Air Force base in the United States.
Right. Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's not happening.
let's chill.
However, yes, the Islamic Nation that helped terrorists is getting an Air Force training facility in the United States.
That's true.
That is true.
Yes.
That's actually happening here. Matter of fact, just a couple days ago, here is Secretary of Defense, War, whatever, Pete Hegseth announcing and being so excited about this.
Also proud that today we're announcing we're signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatari Emiri Air Force facility at the Mountain Home Air Base in Idaho. The location will be host a contingent of Qatari F-15s and pilots to enhance our combined training, increase lethality, interoperability. It's just another example of our partnership.
Okay, let's dig into this here. 314-912-1019. This is not the first country that we do this with.
Yep.
So essentially, and Gabe, you're going to know more about this than I do. We meaning Americans, build and sell the military jets that are brokered, the sales basically brokered and allowed by the federal government. And then, as part of the overall arrangements, we teach them how to fly them.
Yes.
And the maintenance is more or less here in the U.S. I believe we teach them how to maintain them.
Yes.
As well. So multiple countries have operating Air Force facilities around the United States where the United States trains them to use the military jets that we sell them.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that the simplest way to think about it is it's a school and a jet parking lot. Those are the types of things that you get, when you contract with a U.S. government contractor for military aircraft that is supported by the local contractor. So F-15s, which are a prolific jet that the U.S. has used for many, many years, produced actually right here in St. Louis.
Yep.
Those they've been sold to places like Saudi Arabia and now Qatar.
Well, Saudi Arabia had one, I believe it was in Pensacola, and they shut that down after one of their military personnel, one of their Air Force, I don't know what they call them there. Decided to start shooting up Americans.
Yes, that's right.
On the base.
That's right.
And
that was an incident.
They shut down the Saudi one.
Yep. And I think they went in country now with those. Yep. There are now. The difference in how these countries are treated is important because there are tier 1 countries, tier 2 countries, tier 3 countries. Countries like, let's say, Japan, they're a tier 1 country. They get their facility in country. Like they get not only that, but in some cases they get the partner as part of the manufacturing process. So sometimes we won't ship complete jets over there. We'll ship jet parts over there. They will be involved in the completion so that they can feed their local infrastructure and things, stuff like that. And all the maintenance and training would happen in Japan. That tends to happen with the tier 1 countries because their closer partnerships allows us to feel better about exporting some of these technologies and capabilities. They also get better technology in those airplanes than, like, say, a tier 3 country like Saudi Arabia and Qatar. So because they are the strange bedfellows of America. We have to acknowledge that we are partnered with many bad guy countries.
Yeah, Qatar is a bad guy country.
Yes,
I understand technically they're an ally.
Yes.
Where were some of Hamas's top leadership found in recent months? In Doha, in Qatar. Qatar funded Hamas.
Yes, sure did.
So
same way Saudi Arabia funded Al Qaeda.
Right. So when I saw that we're now going to either build them or allow them to build an Air Force facility in Idaho, it really turns my stomach.
Yeah.
I mean, this is basically we're being a snake handler right now. And eventually it's going to try to bite us.
Yes.
Because that's what Islamic nations do.
Yes. Now, there's the argument for this type of thing is basically kind of a keep your enemies close situation where in this case, where you can make inroads with these countries, do so, but do so in as controlled a manner as possible. So that close relationship with Qatar, the leverage of the existing contracts to sell them the F-15s and the possibility of having a training base over here was probably part of the discussions that led to the peace deal with Hamas.
No, there was. Qatar was in the room. They were involved in that without a doubt.
Right. And their ability to put pressure on Hamas was what we were leveraging. So there's an argument to be made that relationship is important and does need to be handled. But of course, how it's handled can be really a big deal.
Yeah, I'm not a military expert by any means, but is it typical for us to do stuff like this, or is this like a new precedent that has been set?
We've been doing it.
This is normal. This is pretty normal.
But normally it's going to be with nations that we don't worry about supporting our enemies and supporting terrorists and turning on us to someday, which there's not a single Middle Eastern country other than Israel that you can say, boy, they'll always be our friend. There's not one.
Yeah, there is
not a single one. If they are an Islamic nation, by nature of who and what they are, deep down they hate us.
Now, the
end of story.
The Saudi F-15 program is at least 15, 20 years old.
Yeah, the one in Pensacola I don't think is existing anymore. I don't know.
That particular, but I'm just saying the relationship that the U.S. has had through the shared usage of F-15s as their major fighters. That's a very old relationship that's been there.
Germany's got one.
Now a lot of the Europeans, though, because they wanted to develop their own in-country jet productions, they've switched over to using their own, locally produced. But I think back in the day when we were building F-4 Phantoms out here, a lot of you probably have somebody related to you, maybe your dad, who worked on an F-4 Phantom, because everybody was building Phantoms back then. They made like thousands of them here. They were all over the world, so U.S. support was kind of spread out in the same way.
Right.
But in this case, I don't like nations like Saudi Arabia, nations like Qatar. They're like I said, the strange bedfellows that we tend to make when you need a leverage point with the bad guys in the Middle East.
In other news, the Qatar just gave as a gift a $400 million jet to President Trump.
Right. That's also part.
Just heads. I'm sure it has nothing to do with this.
That was earlier. That was we reported on that
4
a while
months
ago.
Something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So we know that Qatar, maybe not overtly, but subvertly has supported and supports Hamas.
Yeah.
We know that they have coddled terrorists who attack the U.S. I mean, that's an indisputable fact.
Yeah, that happened.
Now our cabinet secretary of defense, war, whatever you want to call it, is now proud to be allowing them to have a military base, not a base, but a military training facility in the United States. Am I the only one who's got heartburn over this?
Well, I think the thing is, like I said, the how of the handling is the most important part. Like you said, if you consider this snake handling, then it's one thing to say, hey, honey, I brought home 3 venomous snakes and I let them loose in the house, versus here is, a special tank that we have for the 3 venomous snakes. They're going to live there in the basement behind a locked door. And you're like, the handling of them when you bring them in the house is the bigger question. And because we don't have those details, we're kind of left to think, well, maybe this could get bad.
Right.
We could basically be creating the sleeper cell that lives in America.
Well, that's what you worry about.
Yep. And you should be worried.
Yeah. I mean, they do not have our interest at heart. I mean, I understand they want their own, they have a right to defend themselves like anybody else. We just happen to know that they are cozy with terrorist organizations.
Yeah. And it's if oil did not exist in the Middle East, we would not have any relationship with any of these people.
No, because they wouldn't have the riches. They wouldn't be worth it for us. They couldn't buy any of our stuff. We wouldn't need to worry about them at all.
Man, it all sucks. But do I even have a copy here? I don't think I have my copy.
You don't have okay.
Well, let's get ready for another round of leftist protests.
There
it
you
looks
go.
like that's what's happening this week. Really?
Yep.
Again?
Yep.
Okay. I guess they don't have any jobs or anywhere to be. We'll prepare you for that at 7:20.
Making cold minds to fight your war. Stop it right now.
Mike Ferguson in the morning
I like it, but they're going a little overboard with the dancing.
on News Talk STL.
Before you blow us all away.
Colombo and Company.
On Monday, we'll start another week with the government shutdown. We'll get you the latest, plus Virginia Cruda from the Daily Wire, Paul Kurtman from PR Kurtman Investments, and AI expert Mike McCleary.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Jamie Allman here, tossing and turning over retirement worries. You're not alone. 3 out of 4 Americans share your concern about having enough saved. But here's the thing. A comfortable retirement isn't out of reach, even if you're planning for 30 or 40 years ahead. Every day, Jeff Portman from the Gemini Wealth Group helps people avoid the critical mistakes that can derail their retirement. Build your path to financial confidence. Visit GeminiWealthGroup.com or call Jeff directly at 314-888-0123.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have health news, a CDC update.
Pneumococcal vaccination is now recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just one dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
I have to tell you, if this is how they're going to behave, I'm rethinking my position.
News Talk STL.
Let's get back to all this madcap mayhem with Mike Ferguson in the morning. But don't forget, stick around for Jones and Arps every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m.
Happy Indigenous Peoples Day.
It's Columbus Day. We don't do that here. Sorry.
You're not sorry.
Immediately that commercial where he's like, not today. Not to my house.
Yes. Oh my goodness. All right.
Sorry. I couldn't help it.
So yes, today it's funny because I'm like, what's on the, like, I still use a paper calendar just to, I'm a visual guy. Mine says both Columbus Day and Indigenous Peoples Day.
Mine just says Columbus Day.
No kidding. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Ben Shapiro commented on this over the weekend. Here's what he had to say, because the president said, no, it's Columbus Day. And so here's how that all went. This is from the Daily Signal.
The fact that we ever had a conversation about this is unbelievably stupid. Of course, we should have a Columbus Day. It is a very good thing that Western civilization came to America. It just is. I'm sorry if you feel differently, but if you really don't want to be here, you can leave anytime. It's not enough to just say terrible things happened in history, but the overall effect was good. You now have to say, no. It would be better if it never happened. We cannot valorize a person who crossed oceans to find a new continent, which would eventually result in the rise of the United States of America as the dominant power on earth, fighting for free trade, to end Nazism, to end communism, to end global slavery, all the things the United States, you can't do any of that. Instead, we have to talk about the fact that Columbus was mean to the natives. Well, the president is done with that.
This is a particularly important holiday for Italian Americans who celebrate the legacy of Christopher Columbus and the innovation and explorer zeal that he represented.
In other words, we're calling it Columbus Day.
Yes.
That was the press that broke out in applause. That was, can you believe that? I've never seen that happen before. The press actually broke out in applause. Good. Columbus Day. We're back. Columbus Day, we're back, Italians.
We're back. Italians, a pretty good line there from the president of the United States.
I always thought this was one of the dumbest controversies in America. How dare you, people go to the streets and like throw red paint at remember they would throw red paint at Columbus Day parades and things like that. And
since I have Norse blood in me, I need to put on record, though, we were here first. Okay. So I just want to establish that. The Vikings made it here first.
All right, Leaf.
Yeah.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
Leaf, yeah.
Take it easy.
Oh, my goodness. All right. It looks like this coming weekend, there's going to be another round of those No Kings protests.
Yeah, because apparently we still have kings and they have to get rid of them.
Yeah. So I guess I was driving. I was driving through downtown. I don't remember why, but I was on 64 heading back. I was in the city, and I just saw like this old blanket or old bed sheet that was hung over and it said No Kings 1018. So I went and looked it up. And so, so this coming Saturday is when the No Kings is going to have their protest again and all the affiliate leftist groups that go with it. And so I looked up their website, and let me go to it right now here. And there are several in the St. Louis area that they're trying to recruit people to come protest at.
Yeah. It's kind of like what happens when you open that old loaf of bread and you see a little spot. There's actually more spots. They're just all over it. So it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's just the St. Louis area is growing the old moldy protests about kings that we don't have.
Yeah, so I'm counting. Let's see here. I'm counting two in the city. Let's see here. One in the county. One in Sappington, which is
wherever that is.
Another one in West County. Another one it looks like in Belleville. So these are all here from the area. But you remember the last time, West County, Belleville. I think that's another one in O'Fallon, Illinois.
Okay, so it's happening in like South County.
Edwardsville, Waterloo, St. Peters. Jeffco, Washington, Missouri, Franklin County. Yeah, so there are people trying to organize protests basically in every aspect of the metro area here.
I mean, I thought American kings learned their lesson back in 1776. So it has to be about like Denmark and Britain and all those other places, right?
Yeah, all those places where kings still exist.
Yeah. So now you remember the last time they did this, and everybody was really worried about the violence.
There is potential
because there's going to be crossover with the BLM types and the Antifa types and all that sort of thing. And at least in St. Louis, they just protested. They protested. They had their say. They had their signs. They had their flags. They protested.
We even gave them some appreciation for keeping it peaceful.
They were peaceful. They just exercised their First Amendment rights and said stuff that we disagree with.
Right.
That's it. So my hope is obviously that's the trend that continues. But for the no kings part of it in the St. Louis area, the history, which we have two now, I think.
Yeah.
2 occasions now. They have both been peaceful in the St. Louis area.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not freaked out about it.
No, it'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, there's always a possibility that something goes haywire on it, but you could be driving around on Saturday and there's going to be a bunch of people on overpasses with a bunch of, Donald Trump sucks flags or signs or whatever.
Yeah. Now, if they're on the side of the road, fine.
Yeah.
If you're in the middle of the road and I'm at the front of the line of vehicles you're trying to stop,
not good.
No. Just think of a song by Ludacris. The particular song by Ludacris.
Get out the way.
I'm just saying that would immediately be playing in my head.
Can somebody give me credit for the one that I knew what
you were
talking about?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I mean,
don't know Tom McDonald, but you know Ludacris.
I don't know Tom McDonald. And then I couldn't name another Ludacris song. But when you said that, I'm like, well, I think I know it's that one.
You know that one.
Okay,
yes,
so
absolutely.
because the leftist protests do a lot of stupid stuff. You were just telling me, was it Portland?
Oh gosh,
was stupid.
Yes, actually, it happened to come up on the station feed because we kind of keep an eye on what's going on in the world, and apparently there is a quote nude die-in going on in Portland where a whole bunch of people, whole bunch of exhibitionists and other leftist weirdos have decided to lay down in the middle of the street someplace.
Yeah.
It's the wrong people are naked.
I was gonna say, it's like that's the problem with these leftist like nude stuff is like it's not the ones you want.
Now, normally I would post a graphic of what's going on.
No.
Having seen what people from Portland look like, I will spare the audience that. Now, we do have a commenter that says this No Kings demonstration will be bigger.
Yeah, I suspect that's probably true.
And where are these people coming from though? Because it doesn't seem like they have anywhere to be, anything to do. No, I mean, obviously, if you had a job, you wouldn't be messing around with this nonsense.
Yeah,
so
I mean, it's gonna be on a Saturday, so it's. I mean, that's gonna be there. But I mean, city of St. Louis is almost completely Democratic.
Yeah,
true. So you've got. I mean, the St. Louis County is majority Democratic.
But this is weirdo Democratic.
This is very weirdo Democratic.
I don't know. The modern protest culture is so different, I think, from normal people who vote in certain ways. So I've learned now to make a separation because I've got Democrat friends.
Sure.
I've got they're Democrats who attend my church. They're all good people. And we just disagree on how to get to a good society, and they're more willing, I think, to overlook some of the failings of their party. But that's neither here nor there. But then there are the weirdos who show up nude in the middle of a roadway Then there are the weirdos who they decide it's like, you know what, instead of taking a Saturday to go and feed the hungry, I'm gonna go stand in on the side of the road with a sign that's making fun of President Trump.
Now, could you say the same thing for the protesters on the right, though? I mean,
sure,
they could be doing something, but
I suppose
it's your First Amendment right to do either way.
It's true, but I think there's a tendency, because there are so many protests on the left for leftist causes, that it strikes me as more of a profession, like a weird obsessive profession than a
a bizarre hobby.
Or a bizarre hobby, exactly, as opposed to, like, let's say I've been to gatherings of right-leaning people, and I've gone and fed the homeless. so and that seems to be the tendency of all of the people on the right that I am aware of. All the ones who I'm close to, who I know are active, they do kind of all the things. When you talk to these leftists and the things that I've seen from some of the leftist protest goers, that seems to be the only thing they do. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like it's so weird to me. I don't know. I don't understand.
I'm not a protest guy.
Yeah,
I'm not a protest guy. I'm not a political rally guy. I don't know that you change any minds by doing that. But hey, you got a right to say what you want to say, and then you know what? I'm glad we have that right. As long as you don't go violating the rights of somebody else, you're allowed to say any stupid or smart thing that you want.
Absolutely, that's true,
and that's the way that it should be.
Yeah, as it should. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I'm wondering though what the real push is here, because the tendency has been that the protests are either in response to a particular thing,
right,
or they are pushing, maybe to pass particular legislation or against particular legislation, for somebody's presence, against somebody's presence. Is there any real impetus behind this big, what it sounds like a massive outpouring in the region for this No Kings thing, or is it just our turn?
I think it's Orange Man bad.
Okay, so and the thing is, Orange Man is bad every day,
right?
So I guess any day can be a No Kings Day.
So then what do you do when you come across them, and you most likely will, no matter where you are in the area? I mean, to me, you just ignore them. I mean, there's no reason to engage. I don't see any reason for a counter protest.
You don't even need to antagonize them. As much fun as that might be.
It is kind of fun, yeah. Roll your eyes at their stupid signs. Because I mean, the last time they did this, I drove past one that was in the like the Brentwood area, and it was really dumb. And it's funny because it was like all the old crusty hippies. I mean, that's what it was. And then the younger ones had like socialist stuff.
Oh,
there was one with a woman who was wearing tights that had Bernie Sanders' face all over her pants.
Why would you want to do that?
Like she was in the 20s. I mean,
just Bernie Sanders as a fashion icon.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Yeah, so I'm like, well, you're at least saying who and what you really are, which are socialists.
Now, to match the ensemble, she should have had a Che shirt in a lovely mauve.
I've got a Che shirt she can borrow.
Yeah, the no Che shirts. Those are pretty awesome. Now, look, is there any end in sight for the government shutdown? Congressman Bob Onder has the update for us at 7:35. We find out what the heck is going on.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
He picked the wrong schoolyard to come into, I have to tell you this.
On NewsTalkSTL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Most of it stay dry today under considerable cloudiness, but a select few might see a quick passing shower this morning and this afternoon. Showers more likely to the west and north of St. Louis, and even there, they're going to be spotty at best, I'm afraid. Highs will range from the upper 70s to low 80s this afternoon, depending on how much sunshine breaks through in your neighborhood. They were dry and partly cloudy tonight, down to 62 for the low. Partly cloudy on Tuesday, slightly warmer at 82. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Back pain? Follow me to Esquire Sports Medicine, where they've got your back. Esquire is the oldest sports medicine clinic in St. Louis. Dr. Draghi and his team of chiropractors can get you back to work, back to life without the pain. New patients usually scheduled within 24 hours. 314-644-0885. 644-0885.
EsquireSportsMedicine.com.
Larry Connor's commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit VincentsJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
If you're going to be a leader, you want to do a great job, so followers will praise you. Thank you. I wonder if Chuck Schumer is getting appreciation, trying to protect his job to become the darling of the leftist loonies, but jeopardizing the jobs of other Democrats. The rubber has hit the road. Friday, the Office of Management and Budget said reductions in workforce underway. Translated, we are beginning to fire federal workers, and those that do return might not get back pay, as they usually do after a government shutdown ends. The left, led by Schumer, immediately blaming Trump and Republicans, calling Trump the Grim Reaper. Well, it is true the Trump administration is carrying out the firings, but they had warned you. And everyone had a job until Chuck led them off the cliff, again, primarily to keep his job. He sacrificed members of his own party, trying to keep the hardcore left. Chuck, have you ever walked through a pasture of cattle? You know there are things you need to avoid. Watch where you step. You stepped right in it, and the smell will stay with you.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
In all these years that Wellington Environmental has been my sponsor, I've never mentioned their duct cleaning services. Allergy season is here, and Wellington crews clean air ducts daily in homes and commercial buildings, also cleaning air handling units and diffusers in commercial facilities. Why? Well, because people will see black dirt and mold on the vents, or they are actually suffering from allergies. Don't be fooled by low-cost duct cleaning providers saying they charge only per vent, because once they get on site, the price will skyrocket. Wellington does not do this, never has. Wellington will give you an estimate, and you say Larry Connors, and immediately you get a 20% discount. Call Cindy, 314-644-4930, 314-644-4930. Make your home and business better, safer with Wellington. Be well with Wellington.
Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, the #1 home selling team in the St. Louis area. And I can say that from firsthand experience. My wife and I were blown away from the results that we saw from working with Rodney and Jen, from selling our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible to finding our family's perfect new home. They over-delivered every step of the way. And right now, it's still very much a seller's market. So, Tim, for folks that have been thinking about selling their home, it's a perfect time to call the Wallners.
That's right, Tony. And don't forget, they're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois. So no matter where you are in the metro area, you can put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. The Wallners' experience and work ethic, second to none. And of course, the numbers speak for themselves. The Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. Right now, they're working with so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
News, analysis, opinion.
I can't imagine why this government's shut down.
This is not how you run a country.
That's only because of the Democrats. Because the Democrats won't do the right thing.
God help us all.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey guys, Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. Hope you had enough time to freshen up your coffee, because now we're back with Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, it's the gift that keeps on giving, but it is taking away from some here. We're talking about the never-ending government shutdown. It continues, ongoing now. All right, 7:35. Congressman Bob Onder in the belly of the beast, looking firsthand account of all this nonsense that's happening right now. Congressman joins us right now. Can we start, Bob, if you don't mind, with a lot of accusations of who's getting paid and who's getting not. What checks are still going out, and which checks are now shut down because of the government shutdown?
Yeah, good morning, guys. Great to be back. Well, we know, of course, that Social Security checks are still going out. We know that Medicare and Medicaid are still paying hospitals and doctors' offices for their services. And we know that over the weekend on Saturday, President Trump reallocated about $8 billion that was going to Department of War, Research and Development, and reallocated that money to pay our troops. But by and large, both essential and non-essential workers are not getting paid during the shutdown, although everyone gets back pay when shutdowns, and that has been the practice for quite some time. So a lot, quite a bit of what we think of when we think of government agents, and that includes air traffic control and TSA agents. They're deemed essential workers, but they're not getting paid for the duration of the shutdown.
Morning, Bob. Gabe here. So yeah, that was actually going to be my question. So then, what it sounds like is the essential workers designation. It simply means you have to work through, as opposed to the non-essential who gets a paid vacation.
Well, yeah, and so this idea that let's say ATC workers, they have to work without getting paid. Well, yeah, but they're going to get back paid when the shutdown ends, and the longest shutdown in history was about a month. And then, those deemed not essential, except for those who President Trump and Russ Vogt are letting go altogether. Those who come back will get back pay as well, and essentially it ends up as a paid vacation. I mean, there is hardship as your bills come due, and people want to get paid, and you don't have the money. But no, most of these all of these government workers that are furloughed will get paid back pay.
Now, as we close in on the holiday season, the holiday travel season, I think most people are worried about what the air traffic controller disruptions may how they might impact.
Let me jump in because,
please.
For instance, my mom and I the other day are on the phone because I'm planning to go visit up there in New Hampshire for Thanksgiving. And I said, we better have a plan B. Could the ramifications to what Gabe is saying, could the ramifications eventually lead to problems with travel and some of these essential services?
Yeah. In theory, that wouldn't happen because both TSA workers and air traffic control workers are deemed essential employees. But there is reporting of, quote, unscheduled absences. The FAA described a, quote, slight increase in sick leave at some of its airports. That phenomenon of workers calling in sick, that could rear its head. The other thing, of course, is that during this time, recruitment and training of new TSA or new ATC workers is at a halt. So yeah, we need to get the government back working again. That's why this 13-day long so far Schumer shutdown, Democrat shutdown needs to end, and we need to get the normal operations of government operating again.
Now, you mentioned that the longest one of these lasted about a month. I think the intention of this particular CR was to go for 7 weeks. So, if they somehow last longer than 7 weeks, what's the point basically of voting again to open it back up?
We can do it. We can do it.
But what's the over under on what's about to take place? I mean, I think we're hitting the first pay cycle basically since the government shutdown, when the pain is really going to start being felt by the government workers. Are there any indications that anybody's going to cave?
Yeah, I think the people missing paychecks will produce pressure. The other thing, though, is that this Saturday is the Democrats' No Kings rally. It's a Trump derangement syndrome rally that they had planned for some time, and the word is that the Democrats don't want to be seen as caving in before the No Kings rally. So that the government is hostage to a socialist political event, apparently. And let's face it, this whole shutdown, Democrats who have been in D.C. for any length of time, certainly Chuck Schumer, know that clean continuing resolutions, clean meaning no big policy changes, no big changes in spending levels. Those are the way that you keep the government open while you negotiate a longer term budget. And that happened 14 times under Joe Biden. It's just that this time, Chuck Schumer feels heat from his leftist socialist Democrat base. He feels heat from the possibility of AOC primarying him next year. And he had to have this shutdown for his own political survival. I really do believe this is Schumer and the Democrats putting their own politics ahead of the interests of the country.
Okay, so with the House having passed this, I mean, regardless of what the Senate does, that doesn't come back to you. It's just really all up to the Senate and basically the Senate Democrats right now, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. The House passed with I believe only one or two Democrat votes. We Republicans in the House passed the continuing resolution 23 days ago, and now we're on day 13 of the shutdown. So the Senate has had plenty of time to do its work, and every Senate Republican but one has voted repeatedly for this continuing resolution to keep the government open. But the Democrats say their price is that we have to give welfare and health benefits to illegal aliens as the price for opening up the government. Look, this has never happened before, that major policy concessions get granted in return for keeping the government open 7 more weeks. So it's not going to work. We, as Republicans, we cannot let Chuck Schumer and the Democrats do this, because it would be very bad for the country. Not only would we be incentivizing lawlessness and illegal immigration with free health benefits, but we'd be spending $1.5 trillion more at a time when we already have a $37 trillion debt, and the interest on our debt is more than our defense budget. We've got to stop this. We cannot let the Democrats spend us into fiscal oblivion as the price to keep the government open 7 more weeks. Because what will they want then in 7 more weeks? Now 6 weeks.
Yeah. All right. We've just got a minute or so left here, Bob. Over the weekend, the news kind of flurried everywhere, especially on conservative social media. There's going to be a Qatari Air Force training facility that's going to be set up in Idaho. I know we've had some of these for other countries. Qatar, I know technically is an ally, but I'd be hard pressed for anybody to convince me that they're a friend at this point. We know they've funded Hamas. We know that they've let Hamas leadership into their country, for meetings and strategy. What do you make of the fact that we are now allowing them to have their own Air Force training facility in the United States?
Yeah. I don't know a huge amount about this, but I am very skeptical. Sure, Qatar played a role in the Hamas-Israel peace deal, but that's just because Qatar was so close to Hamas. Qatar has been a major state sponsor of terror. Yes, Germany, Singapore, other allies have come here and even had facilities within some of our Air Force bases long term where they would train. And of course, if we're going to sell F-15s to other countries, a separate issue, those other countries' pilots are going to need to train. But I am very skeptical about the idea of a permanent Qatari facility inside one of our Air Force bases. You've got to remember, our allies, as well as our friends, do spy on us. This is a serious espionage risk, and I really don't like it at all.
Okay. All right. And with the shutdown continuing, is there really anything else to watch for in Washington, do you see this week, or is it just the standoff and the maneuvering over whether or not all of the government's going to reopen?
Yeah, I think it's mostly that, but at this point, we're day 13 of the shutdown. The CR was only for 7 weeks. So, I mean, if the Democrats did the right thing today, we'd still be negotiating the longer term budget in 5 weeks. And I will tell you, rolling back the healthcare reforms, rolling back the prohibition on illegal aliens receiving free health care. That is non-negotiable. That is just something we Republicans are not going to do. So, no, we could be in a stalemate for quite a time here.
I'm okay with that too.
Oh yeah, I'm fine.
I'm still fine with it. Congressman Bob Onder, thanks so much for the update, and we'll chat with you again soon.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you. Have a great week.
The Nerd Out continues on Tell Me Something Good. Another space age technology inches forward.
Nerds space age. Really, Gabe? I didn't see that
You
coming.
didn't see that coming from
I
me?
didn't see that coming. Yeah.
I'm just a step away. I'm just a breath away. Losing my faith today.
Hi, Chris Arps here. Join me and the team at Royal Banks, Missouri for their annual Economic Forecast Breakfast. The event takes place on Tuesday, November 18th at the factory in the district of the Chesterfield Valley. You'll hear from their experts and get a better understanding of what to expect from the U.S. economy in 2026 and beyond. Doors open at 7:30 a.m. and the program starts at 8 a.m. Attendance is free, but you do need to reserve a spot. You can RSVP by calling 314-212-1595. That's Royal Banks of Missouri.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
Are the days of a personal doctor gone? Not at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Dr. Randy Tobler to share how our design is putting the care back into healthcare. Plain and simple, our members, not insurance companies, get our exclusive focus. That means same or next day appointments, responsive answers to your concerns, and a no-spin, big tool chest approach. It's about time you get serious time devoted to your medical needs. To learn about healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy, Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I still miss Ozzy.
Yeah.
By the way, he actually was still producing some really good stuff last, literally 2-3 years of his life.
Mm-hmm.
Like new songs and stuff. That was really, really good stuff. Anyway, let me come back to the show here. 7:49 right now. That means, Gabe, it is time for you to tell me something good.
Tell me something good.
Scientists just made an already pretty effective gene therapy 3 times more effective at treating genetic disorders. So CRISPR, I don't know if you've heard that term used before. It's a genetic engineering tool that uses a segment of DNA and its associated protein to edit the base pairs of a patient's defective genes. So basically, CRISPR is the tool that they use to fix your genes. For instance, if I had like a gene for sickle cell anemia, CRISPR could be used to fix that portion of my DNA and essentially cure me of the disease. Yep. So now one challenge to this kind of gene therapy is that CRISPR machinery cannot enter cells by itself. It always needs a sort of delivery vehicle. These tiny structures carry the full set of the CRISPR editing tools wrapped in a dense protective shell of DNA that dictates which organs and tissues the nanoparticles travel to and makes it easier for them to enter cells. So Northwestern University chemists have unveiled a new type of nanostructure that dramatically improves CRISPR delivery and potentially extends its usefulness. Their studies found that this new structure boosted gene editing efficiency 3-fold, caused far less toxicity, really good thing, and improved the success rate of precise DNA repairs more than 60%. So basically, this is the potential for that fix everything therapy that we've been hearing about in science fiction. So really cool stuff. The university's biotechnology spin-out Flashpoint Therapeutics is commercializing the technology with the goal of rapidly moving it towards clinical trials very, very soon.
Commercializing it, by the way, once again, showing you want something to spread far and wide and more efficiently and less expensively, put it in the free market.
Absolutely.
Tell me something good.
Now, flying commercial has become pretty terrible over the years, with more intrusive security, smaller seats, and higher prices, and now potentially a government shutdown impacting your the travel. Maybe, but probably not as extensively as has been reported. But help is on the way for all the other things, at least with the last part of the cost, as 3D printed aluminum may be on track to reduce the cost of building and operating commercial jets. So check this out. With the help of machine learning, MIT engineers have developed a way to 3D print certain alloys of aluminum that can withstand high temperatures and is 5 times stronger than traditionally manufactured aluminum.
Wow, okay.
So
that was going to be my first question.
So yeah, stronger, lighter, better temperature profile. So all the good things, basically. This also happens to make these aluminum alloys a contender for replacing titanium in things like fan blades for jet engines. So titanium is up to 10 times costlier than aluminum and more than 50% heavier. So you know, for the temperature requirements basically require titanium in jet engines. But with this new type of aluminum, you could replace all that. Making that substitution would make building the jets cheaper to begin with, right? And the weight savings could reduce fuel costs. So all of which could end up as savings on our ticket prices. So that's a really good thing. Additionally, quote, because 3D printing can produce complex geometries, save material, and enable unique designs, we see this printable alloy as something that could also be used in advanced vacuum pumps, high-end automobiles, and cooling devices for data centers. So this could be very, very prolific.
Okay, so a couple things on that. One, then maybe they could save enough to give us some bigger seats and more legroom.
Yes, please.
That would be nice.
Yes.
And secondly, are engineers from MIT any good?
I only know of a few, and they're pretty dang good.
Yeah, including you.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
And
I'm one of those guys.
Tell me something good.
Now, you guys have seen the memes saying things like, it's 2025. I was expecting flying cars, but all I got was 4,000 new genders. Right? It's like that's, you know what I mean? It's like that's the kind of the general feeling of a lot of us who were, you know, reading popular mechanics magazines and hoping for a brighter future. But well, something at least from our futuristic dreams may be on its way, as there's been a major breakthrough in creating real life holographic displays. So here's some fun for you. A team at the University of St. Andrews thinks they can overcome the main barriers to hologram technology being used more widely by using OLEDs and something called holographic meta surfaces. So if you walk through a Best Buy showroom lately, you've already seen OLEDs at work on traditional flat screen displays and things like that. Holographic meta surfaces are thin, flat arrays of tiny structures called meta atoms that are roughly like 1,000th of the width of a single strand of hair. Now they're designed to manipulate light's properties, you know, down to the atomic level. OLED displays normally need thousands of pixels to create a simple picture, but when you combine it with the holographic meta surfaces, a complete image can be projected from a single OLED pixel. So it brings us one step closer to leaving holographic messages for each other on our AI-powered droids.
So is this like what you saw in like Star Wars?
Yeah, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. All right, so I'm very much looking forward to holographic displays.
Tell me something good.
Now, to help you plan to have a good week, Tuesday is National Dessert Day. Now, given all the individual days dedicated to specific desserts, I guess this is when you just go for your favorite.
Around the room, what's favorite? What is it?
Oh man, put me on the spot.
Yeah, I mean that's a big question because okay, if you could only have one thing for dessert for the rest of your life, like you got your cheesecakes, you got your pies, you got your cookies, you got, you know, maybe something Italian. Take the cannoli.
See, okay, so
leave the gun.
If I absolutely had to, it would be brownies with like ice cream on them.
Oh yeah,
but I do love me some carrot cake as well.
Okay.
Yep. I'm probably going with like a peanut butter cookie.
Key lime pie.
Key lime pie. That's a good one.
Really?
Yep, that's a good one.
Huh.
That's pretty awesome.
Even in your desserts, you're trying to be healthy.
Yeah, because there's limes in it. That's fruit.
That's right.
Let's see. Wednesday is National I Love Lucy Day.
Oh.
Yeah. So the show premiered this day in 1951, which is amazing. By the way, I Love Lucy was the first TV show to be filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
so
That's right.
it created the laugh track essentially because by having like literal people in the audience laughing during the show. So now they had like, you know what, we feel like we need to replace that. Let's can it. Yeah, that wasn't a good idea. Go back to the live studio audience. Thursday, National Bosses Day. So if you've got a good boss, which we do here, be sure to show some love. Friday is National Pasta Day. Think I might hit up a nice Italian
There
place.
you go, yep.
And speaking of Italian, today, of course, is Columbus Day.
Happy Indigenous Peoples Day.
It's Columbus Day.
Columbus Day. Sorry.
It's Columbus Day. So no banking or mail for you. Other than that, I'm not sure what's going on. Oh, and I would be remiss if I didn't say, for my wife's sake, it's also Canadian Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
so
Now, is
that's-
their Thanksgiving, I mean, obviously, it's, do they celebrate something differently than we do, or is it just that's the time they do it?
It's exactly the same, just earlier. I think because their winter comes sooner.
That's true. That's true.
Thanksgiving is a harvest holiday. So when you have your harvest, you have your Thanksgiving.
Got it.
And
Yeah.
in Canada, tends to be October. By November, they're in like 3 inches of snow, so it'd be tough.
Yeah. Okay. So, best pasta, you got to go to the Hill.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, for Friday, right? Pasta day.
Just do it for lunch, so you're not in the city at night.
Exactly. Now, if any of this helped you have a good week, be sure to let us know on Facebook and Twitter at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of good Italian places.
I
around St.
love.
Louis.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I was like, well, there's that one, and then of course there are the little local, ones that I think a lot of people in your area, know the good Italian
Right.
restaurant.
Yeah,
it's just like,
exactly. I mean, and here's the thing is that like some of the chain places, some of them are like, don't.
I mean,
others are not bad.
Well, the thing is, pasta is kind of like pizza to me in that it's very easy for it to be acceptable. It's very easy to get an acceptable type of pasta, acceptable pizza. If you mess it up, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
It's hard.
You almost have to do it on purpose.
You have to try.
Hey, folks, Jamie Allman here for Newstedter's Fine Jewelry right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend. WowDiamonds.com. It's Wow Diamonds for a reason. These are beautiful lab-grown diamonds. They are gorgeous. They will blind you when you walk in and see them, but that's a good thing. Great engagement sets, wedding sets, all these beautiful God-created gems, sapphires, rubies, you name it, garnets, and also all the gold you need, and the famous bull of a watch, WowDiamonds.com.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with this free call. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Receiving a hero's welcome, President Trump is in Israel as his Gaza ceasefire deal begins to bear fruit. The remaining living hostages held by Hamas have been released, and the bodies of deceased captives are to be returned to Israel. Mr. Trump addressing Israeli lawmakers.
20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families, and it is glorious. 28 more precious loved ones are coming home at last to rest in this sacred soil for all of time.
The president paid tribute to Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, and the prime minister returned the favor holding a list of Mr. Trump's Israel-friendly actions.
My friends, this is only a partial list, but it's enough to affirm what I've said time and again. Donald Trump is the greatest friend that the state of Israel has ever had in the White House.
And now the president plans to attend a summit in Egypt with more than 24 nations. A nor'easter is bringing gusty winds and coastal flooding to parts of the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. To the south, in Buxton, North Carolina, on the Outer Banks, residents like Danny Couch lament the loss of their oceanfront houses claimed by the sea.
This house will not survive this, unfortunately. It's emotionally draining for me or anybody. These houses, people buy for quality of life.
A flood emergency declared for parts of coastal New York and New Jersey. There's no resolution of the government shutdown in its 13th day as of today. On Wall Street, ahead of this morning's opening bell, stock futures sharply higher. The Dow futures up 415 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 411. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Progressive's Teen Driver discount could lower the cost of insurance for your teenager and save you some money. And then you can still spend money on them. Because just when you think you have a grasp on spending, new sneakers. And then it's money for a school field trip. And of course, spending money. Oh yeah, and a new phone to replace the one they dropped in the toilet. Oh, don't remind me. So just get Progressive's Teen Driver discount. And then you can continue to spend money on them endlessly. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discount not available in all states and subject to terms and conditions.
Is war in the Middle East the revival of an ancient conflict recorded in the Bible?
The nation of Israel is a resurrected nation. So what if there was going to be a resurrection of another people, an enemy people of Israel?
Dinesh D'Souza's new film, The Dragon's Prophecy, offers new understanding of October 7th, Israel and radical Islam.
We came back to a land that was largely barren and empty, and we brought it back to life, and we're going to keep it.
Watch it now or buy the DVD at salemnow.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Most of it stay dry today under considerable cloudiness, but a select few might see a quick passing shower this morning and this afternoon. Showers more likely to the west and north of St. Louis, and even there, they're going to be spotty at best, I'm afraid. Highs will range from the upper 70s to low 80s this afternoon, depending on how much sunshine breaks through in your neighborhood. They were dry and partly cloudy tonight, down to 62 for the low. Partly cloudy on Tuesday, slightly warmer at 82. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stiefel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stiefel financial advisor at stiefel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stiefel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stiefel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stiefel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Mike Ferguson.
Look at that guy, how handsome he is.
Gabe Phifer.
I don't really care, Margaret.
Get up, St. Louis.
Don't be kind. Don't be gentle. Pimp slap the tut-tutters.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
All right, another Illinois politician goes from power to prison.
Oh,
yeah,
standard.
that happens.
I wish it would happen more often and in more places.
It happens a lot in Illinois.
Yeah, for some reason,
lot.
Illinois got a monopoly on it.
Yeah. All right, and the sheriff gets to keep his job, at least for right now. Both Mizzou and the Illini have new rankings in the football polls, and yes, the Blues are in action tonight. That's all just ahead here in the News Dump.
The Morning News Dump
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the morning news dump.
Another Illinois politician heads to prison. 83-year-old former Speaker of the House, Michael Madigan, reports to his new accommodations today. Three hots and a cot. Now, I imagine it's going to be a little bit nicer than that for him.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. All right. He has until 2 p.m. to show up at the prison. Madigan is sentenced to 7.5 years after being convicted of 10 federal counts related to corruption in office. He's also been fined $2.5 million. He is appealing the conviction, but in the meantime, he's headed to the pokey.
Straight to jail.
All right. Let's see here. The feud between J.B. Pritzker and President Trump continues. The governor was on ABC's This Week reacting to the president's call for his arrest for failing to protect ICE officers.
This administration, led by a 34-time convicted felon, is threatening to jail people that are their political opponents.
Okay, so one of the candidates who wants to unseat J.B. Pritzker and kind of release Illinois from the horrible tenure that has been J.B. Pritzker is Darren Bailey, and he's going to be with us at 8:35 on the show here. All right, Loaded Dice is still on the payroll, guys.
Yeah.
Yep, at least for right now. A judge rejects the state's effort to remove him from office late last week. KMOV's Corey Stark has the reaction from Missouri's top lawyer.
Attorney General Catherine Hanaway tells First Alert 4 a sheriff who is charged with retaliating against witnesses and confined to his home cannot possibly lead a functioning law enforcement agency. That statement goes on to say the law demands accountability and the people of St. Louis deserve leadership worthy of their trust, end quote. The sheriff will be back in federal court on Tuesday for a bond hearing on the new felony charges. Until then, Montgomery remains under house arrest.
And the actual trial in state court to remove Montgomery from office is scheduled for next month.
Yeah, so this was an attempted, they were going for the whole shebang. They were going for the shortcut. Didn't work, so now they have to take the long route. But I think they're eventually going to get to the same destination.
I don't think there's any way Alfred Montgomery is sheriff by the end of this year.
Yeah, and look, if he is, something is deeply wrong.
Yeah, precisely. Okay, President Trump is now in Israel, and this is after Hamas has released the last 20 remaining living Israeli hostages. Before he landed in Israel, the president spoke with reporters about the Israel-Hamas ceasefire deal that he, of course, was at the center of brokering.
We're going to Egypt after Israel, and we're going to meet all of the leaders of the very powerful and big countries and very rich countries and others, and they're all into this deal. Everybody's into it.
And there are still remains of 28 other Israeli hostages who were killed or died since October 7th. And so Israel gets the remaining 20 hostages back. Hamas gets 1,900 terrorists released back into their ranks as part of the deal.
Yes, and a parking lot for a place to live.
Basically, yeah. All right, so this deal is actually having an effect on you, whether you realize it or not. Gas prices decreased by about 5 cents over the last 2 weeks to a new national average of $3.22, obviously much lower than that here in the St. Louis area. According to industry analyst Trilby Lundberg of the Lundberg survey, she says recent developments in that Israel-Hamas war is impacting gasoline prices.
Late last week, oil prices were pushed down a lot by the October 8 announcement of phase 1 for a peace plan between Israel and Hamas was agreed to by both parties.
Yeah, so we're looking at when things are unstable, if we've seen the prices go up. So when there's been stability, the prices have come back down.
Yeah. Now, that being a result of the Hamas deal is an amazing thing. But I have to say, I'm surprised, and I'm pleasantly so, at how successful of a peacemaker Trump has been as president.
Mm-hmm.
Like his record is kind of stands apart from other presidents in modern history. It's kind of amazing. Obama got a peace prize for existing as Obama, and Trump's going to be completely overlooked for bringing peace in an unprecedented way around the world.
I don't know. I've had the media tell me that Trump has started at least 4 wars. One in Los Angeles, one in Portland, one in Chicago.
That's
and
right.
another one
That's
in
right. Because he's a fascist.
Yeah.
He's using his stormtroopers to go in and do the things that are illegal. I mean, legal, but okay, never mind. We have to get.
Oh yeah. Do I have to do this next part?
I think you have to.
I
think it's a requirement as a news organization.
All right. Dueling soundbite time. Maestro, can I have the thematic music for this next one? There we go. Let's talk about the government shutdown.
Round and round we go.
All right. So here are the dueling sound bites from today. On Fox News Sunday, both Representative Hakeem Jeffries and Speaker Mike Johnson made their cases.
We're fighting for everyday Americans, working class Americans, and middle class Americans, by the way, who are also dealing with a cost of living crisis in this country because costs are far too high.
And of course, here's the Republican retort.
They're trying their best to distract the American people from the simple fact that they've chosen a partisan fight so that they can prove to their Marxist rising base in the Democrat Party that they're willing to fight Trump and Republicans.
You say, but wait a minute, Mike, aren't those the sound bites that you played like last Tuesday? No, these are fresh new ones that said the same thing.
Yeah. They say the same thing every day, basically.
Pretty much.
It's just amazing.
You
Just in
know,
a slightly different way.
And we talked to Congressman Bob Onder just a little bit ago. It sounds like both sides have really dug in. This could last quite a while.
It's entirely possible. Yeah. I'm wondering if we can hit the record.
Let's go for it.
I mean, because 7 weeks would be a record.
Okay.
And that's basically the intent of the length of that CR, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so here's the thing, though. The longer this goes and the more that, sure, we're watching it in the news and we're watching it on social media, but understand the longer this goes and your life isn't directly affected, then you say, why am I paying for this?
Yeah. And you should be asking.
Yeah. Reminding us just how much we don't need of so much government here. Just saying.
Yeah, just saying.
All right. The Blues road trip continues. They are north of the border again tonight. They are in Vancouver to play the Canucks. Puck drops at 6:30 on this one. All right. A little bit of football here. After Mizzou's 3-point loss to Alabama, they dropped in the national rankings, but not by much. So basically, yes, they lost. So you're going to lose a little ground on there. But you lost to Alabama, who is a top 10 team, and you only lost by 3 points.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So we're gonna mitigate the loss a little bit.
Yeah,
make it only a
so
couple
it
of
really
points.
didn't hurt Mizzou too much.
Yeah, it hurt. Did Alabama rise or fall?
They went up.
They did go up.
They
Okay.
went up a little bit as well,
Right.
because they beat a top 20
But yeah,
team.
that's true. That's
You know,
true.
on the road.
That counts.
Yep. In both the AP and the coaches polls, the Tigers went down 2 spots to number 16. Illinois got pummeled by top-ranked Ohio State over the weekend. I did not think that game was going to be close, and turns out I was right on that one because Mizzou and Illinois played at the same time. I'm like, yeah, I'm watching the Mizzou game. That's going to be a much better game, and it was. The Illini dropped to number 25 in the coaches poll, and they dropped out of the top 25 altogether in the AP poll. Listen, Illinois got a pretty good team, but I'm not going to lie. I think they've been overrated.
Yeah.
For the last at least couple of weeks or so. The first few weeks, I think top 20. Yeah. But I think last couple of weeks, I think they even one of their wins was pretty sloppy. So yeah, I think that that's probably where they should be. I do think that if the Illini can tighten things up, I do think they can get back in the top 25 legitimately. We'll see where it goes from here. And the American League Championship Series is underway with the Mariners taking the first game over the Blue Jays. Final score in Toronto last night, 3-1. Game 2 of that series starts this afternoon. They've got the early game, 4:03 is the start time for that one. The National League Championship Series kicks off tonight at 7:08 with the Dodgers in Milwaukee to play the Brewers. Let's see here, the Toronto and Seattle game is going to be on Fox.
Okay.
And the Dodgers and Brewers game is going to be on TBS. So if you've got that, or if you've got the MLB, channel, you could watch it at any point that you want. All right, just ahead here, we've got Darren Bailey coming.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Inspiration, you have a soul sewn up, it is no more. And all at once depart, no destination. Making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough of this.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
People talk about federal money as if it falls from heaven. We thank heaven for it, but it came out of people's pockets.
On NewsTalkSTL.
Get up, and can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewsTalkSTL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit blueoceanmediagroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
I really like all the things you're saying.
News, analysis, opinion.
Thank you very, very much.
News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken. Hey, Vic. Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning, people.
This is just one of those. I'm really curious what people think. I mean, I don't have a negative or positive view of it whatsoever. President Trump gets the booster. I mean, that booster. What's your take on that? 314-912-1019 or just send us a note on social media.
Well, I mean, he was originally the vaccine guy.
Oh, yeah,
he?
absolutely.
So that shouldn't
absolutely.
be that unusual.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm just curious on that. We'll get to that here in just a second. I was in St. Charles Sunday, yesterday afternoon. Rachel and I were there, and they were at the Legends and Lanterns Festival, which was, by the way, a lot of fun. I think it was just Saturday and Sunday, but they did a great job with it.
I think every year is really nice.
They do that, and then they do the one at Christmas time. I think there's one actually. There's something that I think they're going to do at Halloween too. So there's something, but they really do a nice job out there. But so we're kind of just walking around, and Rachel saw way too many things and way too many shops, and we spent way too much money. But anyway, so I saw one of the petition gatherers for the leftist stuff.
Oh, yes, that's right.
She had like a brightly colored vest on, and it was, I think it was the Respect Mo Voters one. And of course, I mean, there's thousands, a couple thousand. It wasn't really that crowded, but there was just a lot of people there.
Well, yeah.
Know. And she was just standing there kind of in the middle of it. She was not haranguing people, she was not like soliciting people. She was just standing there.
Okay, so she wasn't accosting people.
She was not accosting people.
Not sign this. Hey,
not when I was walking by.
Like the dude trying to sell his single.
Right. So that was not happening. And then I saw I actually ran into Jane Pushkar.
Oh, okay.
And she was actually had a signature petition with her as well regarding something specifically in the city of St. Charles, which it's not partisan at all. But she was just kind of sitting there on a bench, and we chatted for a little while, and she obviously, Jane's not going to treat people like that, so she was just there. But you're going to see a lot of the petition drives. Now, I'm going to take the one in St. Charles City and just kind of separate that from everything else, because that's nonpartisan. That's very, very, very local, and I'm keeping an eye on what's happening right there. There's an effort to recall the mayor.
Right.
Dan Borkmeyer out there. And I don't have personally a position on it. I'm still watching it. We're going to have people from both sides on the show. But on the other one, there was a graphic that was flying around social media, and it's true. And you got to give credit to the guys over at Freedom Principle Mo that they put up a decline to sign graphic, and they pointed out, and this is accurate. Again, I'm I'm not taking a position on the city of St. Charles one. That's not, I'm not lumping this in here. But everywhere else, if you're being asked to sign a petition to put something on the ballot in Missouri, it is coming from the left.
Right.
There are no conservative referendums in the works right now. Nothing.
Right. So if somebody is shoving a clipboard in your face, it's actually definitely something you don't want to sign.
Right. So just keep that in mind.
Except for the city of St. Charles, where that nonpartisan issue about the,
make up your own mind on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm not involved in that one. But everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Now remember, they can tell you whatever they want.
Yes, they have no
them.
obligation to tell you the truth about what they're collecting signatures
And
for.
remember, when the left was getting signatures for the old Amendment 3,
Mm-hmm.
we actually had cases, as Steve Rupp from Missouri Right to Life told us, that they were standing outside of Catholic churches,
Yes,
telling people, help ban abortion, sign this, and they were actually getting Catholics, one of the most consistent pro-life denominations and faiths out there,
Mm-hmm.
tricking people into signing a petition to get a pro-abortion amendment on the ballot.
Yep.
And so right now, regardless of what they tell you, I mean, if you're in the city of St. Charles, again, that's a whole different thing. You make up your own mind about that.
Right.
But anywhere else in the region, anywhere else in the state,
Mm-hmm.
if they're gathering signatures, it is not a conservative thing.
Don't do it.
Yep.
Decline to sign.
There you go. Okay. So in the Friday, take out the trash news. We've mentioned that before, that a lot of times what politicians will do is they'll wait till Friday afternoon or Friday evening to put out press releases or make statements or whatever the case is, knowing that a lot of people have tuned out of the news already.
Yeah, I mean the traditional news cycle, even though it's 24 hours, it's not 7 days a week; it's 5 days a week. For most people, they consume their news, basically in association with work time.
Yeah,
weekends are for getting away from those things, right? So then what you're going to end up happening if the news comes out Friday afternoon, nobody has time to talk about it.
Yeah. And then by Monday, it's kind of old.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the idea. It's been going on for decades.
Sure.
It's nothing new.
A little bit of a tactic.
But one of the things that was released and announced is that President Trump had his latest physical, and the doctors have declared him in exceptional health.
Right.
Which you know what?
For an 80-something guy.
For an 80-year-old guy, which for an 80-year-old guy who has a diet of McDonald's cheeseburgers.
Yes, and a schedule like we've seen.
So he's apparently in very good health.
It's relative, but I mean, look at him. He's rolling. I mean, we've seen what certain types of 80-year-olds look like.
Oh yeah,
right. So yeah, he's doing all right.
But here's the thing: is when you looked at the statement from the doctor that was put out, and you looked at the statement from the White House, they also mentioned that he got his seasonal shots, including the COVID booster.
A COVID booster.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he got the COVID booster shot. And
he's vaxxed. He's not a pureblood. I mean, to be fair, he was among the first to get the vaccine because it was a product of his Operation Warp Speed, right?
He was the guy that got the COVID vaccines basically to market way faster than the normal process would be.
Right.
And so I was just looking at some of the reactions and there's people that reacted very, very, very angrily to that. Now, personally, to me, it's a personal decision.
Yeah.
Get it, don't get it. I'm not going to be mad at you either way. I'm not going to get it.
Right.
But you do what you want to do. And, but there are a lot of people not happy with this at all.
Yeah. Now I'll say this. I think the original intent of Operation Warp Speed was to get a potential game-changing drug to market without the duress of your normal level of red tape, so that people who, understanding that this was experimental, if they weighed the options, they could take it. I mean, this came on the heels, by the way, of the right to try legislation. If you remember that, that was back in the day where basically people who with terminal diseases, for some reason, there was an impediment to them, trying these experimental treatments and things like that. It's like, well, they're terminal, let them try. And that was the whole point. So then Operation Warp Speed kind of was in that vein of, hey, if you make the decision as an individual to try something experimental because you've done your personal cost benefit analysis and gotten there, then that's fine. But then it got turned into a mandate.
Then it became mandatory.
And then it was like, wait a minute, okay, we're way out of pocket.
Right.
So in that regard, look, maybe in his conversation between him and his doctor, he's like, you know what, you do have that hamburger belly there, so there's a possibility that this could be bad for you, because we know one of the comorbidities of really bad COVID was obesity, right, and old age. He's an old, overweight guy. Yeah. So I'm not mad. Personally, I'm not mad at him for this.
Yeah, and they also said because he's got so much international travel, but that all assumes a lot of confidence in the COVID booster.
That's true.
See that, and that's what I'm curious to what, especially those of you who, are part of part of the MAGA movement and the part of the MAGA activism out there. What's your take on this? Because the MAGA movement, and then you've got obviously a lot of critiques inside of that of the COVID vaccine itself.
Yes, and certainly the rhetoric around it, right?
Yeah.
I think part of what tainted the whole thing was the in addition to, or in support, I should say, of the mandates, was there was a lot of lying about the efficacy of the drug.
Right.
Is like there was a lot of withheld data on the part of the drug producers, which conceivably Operation Warp Speed wasn't saying don't produce data. It wasn't supposed to do that.
There was a lot of sketchy deals in there, as far as hiding information for 50 some years and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, all kinds of craziness.
It was a complete windfall for the pharma companies.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it was massive for
imagine
Moderna
getting the
Pfizer.
Imagine getting the federal government to not only advertise but mandate the use of your product. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, I have a widget. Hey, government, tell everybody they have to buy a widget. Not only that, you buy a supply of widgets for the people who can't afford my widgets, and then give those widgets away. Or actually, you don't have to give them away. I mean, they expire.
Right.
So they could be in a warehouse, but you've already purchased them for me, so I'm good.
And also, you can't sue them if there's any harm that from the thing they made you take.
Exactly. Yeah. So if my widget kills somebody, I can't be sued.
Allison says he can take the vaccine, his choice. I will not. Corporeal Being says it shows you can be smart at business and dumb at health.
I mean, there's something to that.
Are you saying McDonald's is not that healthy?
I am a pureblood. I'm a proud pureblood. I never took a vaccine or a booster. But my calculations might be different if I were an overweight 80-year-old.
I mean, do you have that confidence in anything COVID vaccine right now?
Well, to be fair, no.
Yeah.
To be fair, given the history of the companies that produce those, that's a good point too. It's like even on balance, I'd be like, you know what, maybe not.
Yeah. I mean, that's I kind of see the way Allison sees it. It's like, you know what, your choice, you do it. I wouldn't do it.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't talk anybody in or out of it. That's completely your choice. I would also tell you, be a little skeptical of your doctor unless you've got a real long-term relationship with them and they have your best interest at heart, because they were the ones who were enlisted to push this thing on everybody. And listen, if they're convinced that it's really a good thing, okay, that's fine. But we're now finding out that there was a lot of financial incentive, and we know how the medical establishment has been captured by the hard left.
Yeah, really.
And so our medicines should not be political, and this is the problem. They've become political. So I'm curious, what do you think? I mean, to me, I just kind of thought, well, that's different. And I'm just was more interested in what everybody else thinks on it. Do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Get it, don't get it, completely up to you. I'm not going to be mad at you either way, but I knew when I saw that news, I'm like, yeah, there's a reason they didn't announce that till Friday night.
Yeah. I mean,
they wanted that to go under the radar.
A lot of us were not putting our hopes in the vaccine, but if there is hope for Illinois' future, a big part of that involves replacing J.B. Pritzker, who is basically like a disease in the governor's office. Darren Bailey is running to be the Republican to do just that. He joins us at 8:35 on NewsTalk STL.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Most of it stay dry today under considerable cloudiness, but a select few might see a quick passing shower this morning and this afternoon. Showers more likely to the west and north of St. Louis, and even there, they're going to be spotty at best, I'm afraid. Highs will range from the upper 70s to low 80s this afternoon, depending on how much sunshine breaks through in your neighborhood. We're dry and partly cloudy tonight, down to 62 for the low. Partly cloudy on Tuesday, slightly warmer at 82. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Fox News commentary with Jimmy Fallon next.
If your cash is sitting in a savings account, it's at risk. Old school advice says save more, but today the strategy is broken. When inflation spikes, they print money or cut rates, your dollar shrinks. So do your savings. The solution? Own something real. Physical gold and silver. When the dollar drops, gold and silver prices rise. And with Noble Gold, owning gold is simple. Just visit noblegoldinvestments.com and chat with a specialist. The knowledge is free. The protection is priceless. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions.
Here's Jimmy Fallon.
Pete Hegseth, he had written a best-selling book about the war on warriors and how we were literally fighting the wrong battles by prioritizing things like gender identity and politically correct language, completely divorced from the reality that what we're asking these guys to do doesn't happen neatly in corporate boardrooms. It is war. But bigger than that is you can't send an army to the battlefield that can be misgendered to death. Like, if your feelings are too fragile for pronouns, they're not going to do well against bullets and mortar shells and everything in between. I don't know, people say, oh, this is all superficial culture war stuff. Not if it's happening in the military. Believe me, there's no other military around the world that wants to wipe us off the map, like a China or a Russia, that's sitting around prioritizing hurt feelings.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli, and my favorite sandwich from Capriati's is the Wagyu beef French dip. So good. It's the au jus that makes it. And the Wagyu beef is pretty good, too. I love Capriati's, and you will, too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Kathy Connor from Connor Roofing is here. Kathy, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Vic.
You know, when you need a roof, I don't want to call a stranger. I want to call you.
Yeah, thanks. At Connor Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company.
How long have you been doing it?
Since 1993.
And year after year, storm after storm, you guys are always there.
Because this is our home too, Vic. Our kids go to school with your kids. We cheer for the same teams. Go Blues!
So support your neighbors. Call Connor Roofing at 314-375-7475 or CONNER roofing.com.
Thanks, Vic.
I remember my son was going to grow up without a father.
I didn't think someone at 23 could be diagnosed with breast cancer.
I was probably the healthiest I had been in my life.
Early detection of a melanoma saved my life.
I survived testicular cancer because of early detection.
I survived cancer not once, but twice because of early detection.
Hi, I'm Congressman Bob Onder. Early detection equals better outcomes. Learn what routine cancer screenings you need and book your doctor's appointment today.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Located in the heart of St. Charles, Kevin's Guns is your family-owned destination for all things firearms. Whether you're a collector, hunter, or military enthusiast, we have it or can get it for you. From new to used rifles and handguns in every style and caliber, our friendly and knowledgeable staff is here to help educate you and ensure you make the perfect choice for your needs. Buy, sell, or browse our incredible selection at kevinsguns.net or call 636-493-1195. Kevin's Guns, where gun enthusiasts come home.
No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here. Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
Illinois is going to be at a crossroads in the 2026 elections. Obviously, J.B. Pritzker is enjoying the spotlight. That is good for his not-so-secret presidential ambitions. But in the meantime, you've got a state that's falling apart. Darren Bailey is one of the Republicans who wants to be the guy to replace him and kick him out of office, frankly, derail his presidential ambitions. But in the meantime, try to get the state back on the right track. And Darren joins us right now. Darren, appreciate you being on the program here. Let me start with obviously what's happening in Chicago. You've got this feud, this war between J.B. Pritzker and President Trump over National Guard troops in the Chicago area. Before we get to the stateside public safety issues, what's your take on the deployment of National Guard troops into the Chicago area, and what should the state's response be when it comes to dealing with ICE and Homeland Security and everything that's happening right now?
Well, good morning, and thank you very much for the opportunity. And I think the first thing that we have to look at and realize that if J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson were doing their job in the first place, that absolutely none of this would be necessary. This has been, the reason that spurred all this is public safety. I mean, we went from Labor Day weekend, 58 shootings and 13 deaths. And, the government's number one rule is protecting the people, right? So President Trump sees that. He sees what's taking place in Chicago, and it's worked. It's been excellent how this has worked in Washington, D.C., curtailing shootings and crime. And he's offered the same. And the arrogance and as you suggested, the presidential ambitions of J.B. Pritzker are just, thumbing his nose and turning away any and all help, all at the risk of lives every single day. So ICE and the federal agents and they're simply there to protect the people and uphold the rule of law. No one should be in this country illegally, and that's really as all this is about.
Yeah, and obviously we're dealing with federal immigration law, but then you go back to the SAFE-T Act and the Pritzker administration's approach to public safety and law enforcement in the state. We've got enough time now under our belt to see the results of those policies that he and the Democratic majority put into place. What are you seeing as you go around the state? What are you being told?
Well, around the state, we've seen a mass exodus of law enforcement, everyone from the county sheriffs to the local police to especially the Chicago Police Department. There are a lot of vacancies that need filled. So as soon as this came about, many people just walked away, went to other states, better jobs, or went into private security. So and so is the case in Chicago. When we take a look at what J.B. Pritzker has allowed and what Brandon Johnson has single-handedly done with wasting just literally hundreds of millions of dollars on failed education policies and woke ideology. They squandered their budget. They have no money. So the number one thing that Brandon Johnson should be doing is putting more police officers on the street to protect the people, and they refuse to do this. And that's why we're seeing this situation up in Chicago. And I'll assure you, in every county and every community, organizations need more people to be serving in law enforcement to protect the people. But there's a vacancy because there's a fear of what this SAFE-T Act could lead to in Illinois. And nobody wants to put their life on the line just for a bunch of nonsense, to know that they could literally be held responsible and accountable for anything that they say or do.
I'm glad you brought up education, because I want to ask you about that in just a couple of minutes here. But, I grew up in Central Illinois, Central and Western Illinois, as well. So I'm aware that culturally there's a big difference between downstate Illinois and obviously with Chicago, but that's where the majority of the lawmakers are elected, are from the deep blue part of Chicago. So if you're elected, how does a Republican governor navigate the far left fringe of the Democratic Party that has so much power in the state to actually get things done? Because we're talking about a lot of course corrections that have to be made in the state. And there's this massive chasm between, most of the areas of St. Louis, if not, the number of voters, but most of the downstate Illinois and the far left fringe in Chicago. How do you navigate that to get some things fixed?
So I'm a late entrant into the race. I did not have this on the radar 2.5 months ago. And as I began to explore the candidates that were getting in, as I began to kind of sit back and realize and take a look at the 22 race that we were involved in, and considering the failures, the opportunities we missed, and realizing, you know what, number one, this can be different. We can change things up. We can redo this. We know where we need to hit the areas to make a difference, and we know the messaging. We know the priorities of the people. I know all that. I've got name recognition. So that was number one. Then number two, people are always constantly asking themselves, how much worse does it need to get? So I believe that JD and Brandon Johnson have simply shot themselves in the foot, figuratively speaking, with all of this nonsense taking place. So we began to 2 and 3 months ago. There were factions of groups reaching out from Chicago that I really hadn't had contact with before, and people who were encouraging me, Bailey, you need to get back in. We need someone that we can trust. We need a fighter. So that's the second aspect. The third aspect is the simple fact of the time that I spent serving in the General Assembly in Springfield as a lawmaker, both in the House and in the Senate. So I am someone who will listen. I'm someone that it's been proven that even sometimes as radical right as I have been, that I had earned respect from the other side of the aisle. There were multiple times, multiple bills that people came over and, they could not get any Republican votes on because they didn't have enough Democrat votes on some very good conservative bills. And I was able to work with them to garner some support from our side of the aisle on things that very much made sense. So I think we've got the ingredients to, we're going to have to show up. We're going to have to listen to the people. We're going to have to be patient. But then when it comes time for action, we've got to do the right thing. And too many lawmakers show up, governors, et cetera, and they begin to waver with whatever tide. They begin to consider, okay, I've got to get reelected. So what do I need to do or not do, instead of being focused on doing the right thing for the people of Illinois? So I think we've got the makings of what it's going to take to ultimately win this, and then to get things done at the end.
We're visiting with Darren Bailey, Republican candidate for governor of Illinois. Okay, you mentioned law enforcement, leaving the state, but that's not the only thing leaving the state. Businesses, citizens, residents leaving the state of Illinois. That goes back to hardcore economics. What are some of the things that need to be changed as quickly as possible to try to stop that bleeding and stop that damage of literally people and businesses leaving the state?
So the whole funding of education in Illinois relies heavily on property taxes. And the answer with J.B. Pritzker for the last 7 years has been just throw more money. You got a problem, you throw money at it. Absolutely no real solution or really any evidence that anything is working. You just add more money. So here in Illinois, unfortunately, most people within 10 years of paying property taxes will have refinanced their homes. So we're rolling out with some ideas of an immediate possible 20% property tax cut, and we'll be working directly with the schools and redirecting some of the financing. Since J.B. Pritzker has been governor for the last 7 years, our state budget has increased by $15 billion, and you compound that, and then you're talking closer to $50 billion of taxpayers' money that's went into the system that we've continued to fail. So property taxes is number one. We've got to do something with our gas tax and have a rollback on that, which we can do. Recently here in Illinois, we ran out of energy. So they had to go do a complete different agreement. Many businesses, homes who are on the Ameren, on the MISO grid, some of their electrical bills literally doubled. So we've got to rein that in. And ultimately, we've got to stand with law enforcement, get more police officers on our streets, and we've got to work on our failed education and fix that. And those are all items that I was very strong on in 22. And I think that I think there's an awakening taking place, realizing that I've worked with this. I've served on the school boards. I believe in school choice. There's just a whole plethora of ideas regarding affordability, safe streets, and education that I believe people are that we can unite on and get some things done.
What can government do to lower those utility bills? Because a bunch of I live on the Missouri side now, but a bunch of my friends and teammates who live on the Illinois side, I've heard that the utility bill cost increases. I mean, is that a matter of taxes? Is that a matter of regulation? Is that a matter of allowing different types of energy generation, or going back to types that J.B. Pritzker has tried to push out? What can government do to at least in the short term, help relieve some of those bills?
Well, in the short term, it's all in planning. So the governor's office does have a say in, the energy that is spoken for. And that's literally what happened 2 months ago. The energy that we had spoken for was all used up. They had to go back on the market to purchase this energy. And of course, it's going to cost more. There will be a little bit of relief come January, but it will not be enough. The state has voted during the term that I was in the legislature. All the Republicans stood up against it, but the state of Illinois is forcing the shutdown of a coal-fired energy plant. So we used to be a net exporter of energy after we had more than enough to use, and now unfortunately we're exporting too much to earn a dollar off of it and not taking care of our people. So taking a good hard look at nuclear, there's been a lot of improvement in nuclear with safety. So we literally need to allow for the building of more energy of every shape and form. We've got natural gas below us. We need to be having natural gas plants. We've got an immense amount of coal across Illinois, and unfortunately that coal is being carbon taxed heavily. And down in Marissa, we've got the cleanest coal-fired plant in the world, and we need to be able to replicate that and wake some of these people up and convince them that their ideology on green energy is skewed, it's wrong, and it's not feasible for the growth of a great state like Illinois.
All right. And you mentioned just last minute or so, we've got Darren Bailey running for Illinois governor. You mentioned education a couple of times. I mean, there are school districts, not just in Chicago, but around the state where, in some cases, not one single child is grade level proficient in the key subjects. And in other areas, the numbers are in the single digits, and others it's in the 20s. I mean, it's just abysmal what's happening in the state. What needs to change on a statewide policy level in order to get those learning outcomes up? I mean, and in the meantime, I'm glad you mentioned school choice. I'm really happy to hear that as well. What are the ways that can be implemented quickly? Because there's an attack on homeschooling by Democrats in the assembly right now.
Yeah, and all that's driven by the teachers union to force the closure of private schools and homeschools to force sending more children to public education so they can fuel this massive need of the pension system that is also a major shortfall here in Illinois. But at the end of the day, day one, there will be a complete restructure of just about every state agency. DCFS, we've got just too many children being harmed and literally dying each and every year. It's an atrocity. But for the Department of Education, just a complete stripping of that administration and putting people who will do the right thing, who believe in the right thing. And these failures that we're talking about, that's the Illinois State Board of Education's own numbers that we're using. These are not outside agencies coming in, and the average school across Illinois, only 30% of students can read, write, and do math at grade level. This woke ideology that J.B. Pritzker has pushed and Brandon Johnson has pushed on sex education. It's grotesque what we're teaching our children. Here in Illinois, a 12-year-old girl can come to school and decide to do anything with her body that she wants to and go tell a teacher and get it done, anything without the parental consent. So we've got to stop it right now today. President Trump is offering help with private education, with school choice, and J.B. Pritzker in his arrogance refuses to sign on and ask for that help. That is available to every state in the union, and I believe Illinois is one of maybe 5 states that literally refuses to participate in allowing this federal money to come in and be allowed for school choice. So the education just needs a complete overhaul. We need to get back to the basics. We need to start teaching vocation, teaching our children how to work in the real world again like we used to. And at the end of the day, they've got to be able to read, write, and do math to be able to exceed in that. And that is simply not happening.
All right. We've already tagged you on social media, website. People want to get in touch, learn more about the campaign. What's the best way to do it, Darren?
I got a very active Facebook post, so go to that. Darren Bailey, look for the blue certified sign. Go to BaileyForIllinois.com. BaileyForIllinois.com. You can donate, you can volunteer, and you can invite us to events. So looking forward to meeting everybody, and thank you so much for this opportunity to get the word of hope out for Illinois.
All right, we'll talk to you again soon, Darren. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, 314-912-1019. Got any thoughts on that? Send me a note on social media here. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
You and I might have something in common. Back pain. I can tell you where I go for help. Esquire Sports Medicine, the spine of St. Louis. They can put athletes back on the field so they can clearly help us. Esquire Sports Medicine, hands-on chiropractic help on Big Bend, just north of Highway 40. 314-644-0885. EsquireSportsMedicine.com. EsquireSportsMedicine.com.
Hi, Sean Long from STL Fenceworks. A new fence or deck is an investment in your home and your lifestyle. But how do you ensure that you're getting the most out of that investment? At STL Fenceworks, we know the key is satisfaction. Satisfaction means getting a fence or deck that not only meets your needs, but exceeds your expectations. Satisfaction means working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. Satisfaction means having confidence in the quality of your new fence or deck, knowing that it was built with the best of materials and workmanship. STL Fenceworks, your satisfaction is our passion. And for me, satisfaction is knowing that providing for your family is how I provide for mine. Visit STLFenceworks.com and experience the satisfaction in making your backyard dreams into a reality.
On the next
Larry Connors USA. Monday starts a new week, but some of the same old. Leftists still attacking ICE agents.
Larry Connors USA.
Now, weeknights 6 until 8
on News Talk STL.
The Mike Ferguson Show is one of my favorite programs. In addition to Larry Connors USA, catch my program at 6. Now, back to Mike.
All right, that conversation with Darren Bailey, former Illinois State Senator, he was the nominee 4 years ago or 3 years ago. For the Republicans, and so he's taken another swing at that. Obviously, there's a couple other candidates in the race. Ted Dabrowski's been on the program here with us as well. So that's going to be up on the podcast here in just a little bit. So I'd encourage you to send that to all your friends in Illinois. One of the things that jumped out at me when he's talking about the utility bills, because I've got the number of my friends in Illinois, they've mentioned that they're like, why am I all of a sudden paying this much and so that's something that I'm hearing from my friends there. And I was really glad to hear him say things like coal, nuclear, natural gas, because there's a lot of coal under the ground in Illinois, a lot of coal. There's also a lot of natural gas. There is no reason whatsoever for Illinois, or frankly, any state in the middle part of this country, to have to pay out of pocket to go get energy when they've got so much natural resources right underneath the soil. The thing that's in the way are these far left environmentalist fringe policies that the Democrats are owning right now.
Yeah, that's a tragic thing. I mean, I would love to see a nuclear future, but at the same
Yeah,
time, we have an abundance of natural resources right here. And the people on the far left that are all about this quote unquote environmentalism, if you look at the waste byproducts of solar panels and the cobalt mines that are needed for these EVs and such, way more destructive, way more polluting. And I just don't understand how anybody can wake up and say, we're going to become more reliant on other places for our energy sources when we have it all right here.
It's all dependency.
Yes.
I mean, it is. And he mentioned the shuttered coal powered plant. At least it's there, hopefully with some maintenance, you could get it back up and running. But that's one of the things that I would really hope that if a Republican wins, whether it's Darren, whether it's Ted, whether it's those are the two main competitors in that Republican primary race. Yeah, I would say Darren Bailey definitely has more name recognition. I would say if you had to handicap it, Darren Bailey would definitely be in the lead right now, but I think it's going to be an interesting race. But he's absolutely right about the energy aspect of it. You know, he's 100% correct. And it's ridiculous when all the resources are right there. I mean, Illinois could essentially be self-sustainment when it comes to powering itself. I mean, literally not needing to import a single watt.
Yeah.
Missouri, same thing. And I was actually glad that he volunteered that we also need to look at more nuclear, because that is the future. I mean, these smaller nuclear power plants that can be built that are the world's, I mean, massive differences between those and the days of, you know, the where we had the tragic accidents in the other parts of the world. Those could power entire regions really fairly economically. I mean, a large part of Eastern Missouri is powered by nuclear power.
Yeah, I mean, if we had invested more in that infrastructure, we would, one, obviously have way more energy available, clean, sustainable energy, to the point where we could actually be a major exporter of the natural resources we have. But at the same time, user error has been the problem, not the unsustainability, not the quote unquote dangers of nuclear, to the point where now I think it's France actually can recycle their nuclear energy rods and get some more of that energy back. So there's really no good reason besides these activist people that don't understand what they're advocating, blockading us from being able to go into the future.
Right. And so who's a benefit from that? Missouri. Missouri benefits. When those costs go up, businesses have to leave. People have to find other places to live, you know, and the thing is, you know, when you drive through Illinois, so much of Illinois is rural, you know, so much of it is not Chicago. And in order to placate the far leftist in Chicago, the rest of the state pays the price. And that's where a lot of those losses are coming, and people just can't keep up because somebody's got to pay the bills. And Darren did mention the basically the public sector, the pensions. That's the key part of so much of the cost overrides, and they've got to keep raising taxes in order to pay all that. And so it's not just a matter of, well, we just got differences on the policy. This is running people's businesses into the ground, and people are leaving. In Missouri and Indiana or Kentucky to some degree. Those are the states benefiting the most. Iowa to some degree, but these are the states that are benefiting from that absolute debacle that is Illinois, with so much of that being J.B. Pritzker at the helm, because the assembly is just as fringe and radical as he is. So he's the one behind the wheel. Blame the assembly, blame the Democrats in the assembly, but J.B. Pritzker setting the tone.
Yeah, and as much as we like to make fun of, J.B. Pritzker and the loony left, I mean, it's still, I still do have, my heart goes out to the people of Illinois that are suffering because—
You escaped.
Yeah, I escaped. So come on down. But it still is very tragic and unfortunate that because of that sort of grip that they have in Chicago, a lot of people's voices are just completely ignored, and they have to suffer the consequences of poor policy decision and people that don't understand what they're voting for.
Right.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Congressman Burgess Owens, the NFL